Today on Sports Weekend, the finest young shot makers in the world take aim at the 1987 Uniroyal Junior Men's World Curling Championship from Victoria. Two teams, just 8 curlers with their sights set on the title, won last year by the David Aiken foursome from Scotland. Now, here is your host for Sports Weekend, Brian Williams.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Sports Weekend Control in Toronto. In just a minute, we'll be switching you live to the West Coast. Don Whitman and Don Duguid standing by to bring you Canada and Scotland for the World Junior Curling Championship. First of all, though, let's update the NHL. Unusually busy Friday night as 5 games were played, all 5 having a bearing on the upcoming playoffs. The Leafs, after a brutal start at Le Colisée, trailing 4-1 after the first period, they did come back, but it was too late. It's just about over for last place Toronto as they now trail Minnesota by 5. Now, you combine the Quebec victory with Buffalo's loss at home in the odd, the Sabres trailing the Nordique by 4 in the Adams division. By the way, Ryan Walter with a pair of goals as the Habs and Montreal clinch a playoff position. The Calgary Flames have literally owned the Oilers this season, the Flames winning a penalty-filled game with a couple of shorthanded goals in the first period. You know, that is 6 wins in 7 games for the Flames with Edmonton this season. Bit of a surprise, the Canucks over the Jets, who now trail the Flames by 8 points. Tony Tanti with a hat-trick for Vancouver. Look out for the Caps in the playoffs. Mario Lemieux, by the way, was sent to the hospital with facial cuts after a fight in that game with Washington's Bob Gould. There is one game this afternoon. It's in the third period now in Boston. They're just starting the third period. The Kings playing well without Marcel Dion. Lead 4-2. Carson, the rookie, with a pair for Los Angeles. Cam Neely and Charlie Simmer have replied for the Boston Bruins. We, of course, will be keeping you up to date on this game and other happenings during the afternoon. Right now, though, we are ready for World Junior Curling live from Victoria.
Since conceived in 1975, Canada has dominated the World Junior Men's Curling Championship. Paul Gausel was the first winner in 1976. Bill Jenkins of Prince Edward Island won in 1977. In '78, Gausel became Uniroyal's first 2-time world champion. The 1983 winner was John Bass from Ontario, and his world title was duplicated 2 years later by Bob Ursel of Winnipeg. In total, Canada has won 5 golds, 5 silvers, and a bronze, missing the medals in only 1 year, 1984. And today, Hugh McFadyen and his Assiniboine Memorial team from Winnipeg go for gold again in the 1987 World Junior Curling Championship. In this 13th year of World Junior competition, curlers from 10 nations traveled across the waters from Canada's mainland to beautiful Vancouver Island. And while much of the rest of the country is still covered under a blanket of snow, spring has already arrived in Victoria, the host city for the World Junior Championships. Live from the Esquimalt Sports Center, it's the Uniroyal World Junior Men's Curling Championship. Today's final features the 1986 Canadian Junior Men's Champions from Winnipeg's Assiniboine Memorial Curling Club, skipped by Hugh McFadyen. He'll be going against the Scottish Junior Champions, skipped by Douglas Dryburgh from the Kirkcaldy Curling Club. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Whitman, along with 2-time Canadian and world champion Don Duguid. And Don, despite the fact that Canada has dominated in this World Junior event, the last 3 times Canada has faced Scotland in the final, they have not had much success.
Well, Canada's always done well in the round robin, and like you say, Scotland won in the last 3 finals. But you know, the interesting thing, I was talking to Alan Torrance last night. He's the coach of the Scottish team, and he said they like to play takeout. They don't like to play draw at all, which is really unusual for a Scottish team. On the other hand, I talked to McFadyen, and he says, well, Donnie, you know, they don't like to draw, and I'm going to play a lot of come-around stuff. So I would think from the very beginning, they're going to start going around corner guards, Canada, very early.
5-4 was the score when they met in round robin play, and as a result, Canada was awarded first place in the overall standings. Canada and Scotland with 8 wins and a loss. Switzerland finished third at 7-2. A tiebreaker was necessary between Norway and Germany to determine the other semi-finalist. But it really didn't do Norway much good, because when they went into the semi-final last night against Hugh McFadyen's Canadian rink, they ran into an open switch on the very first end. Canada jumped into a quick 7-0 lead.
Well, that's right. It's always nice to get off to an early start, and the team really didn't have much of a chance from Norway. McFadyen was on top of his game, and he just kept up the pressure throughout the whole game.
3 in the first end, 1 in the second, a steal of 3 in the third. It was 7-0 Canada, en route to an 11-5 win over Anton Grimsmo of Norway. The other semi-final went to an extra end before Scotland emerged with an 8-7 triumph over Marcus Egler of Switzerland. I asked Dryburgh how he'll approach today's championship game.
We'll just take it as it comes, I think. You can only play shots in hand that are, you've got to do what you've got to do. We're looking forward to a good game.
Your round robin game was a very close battle. They stole one for the victory in the final end.
Yeah, they stole one. I gave the game away to them, basically. If I get the same chance, I don't think I'll do that again.
Are you confident coming into this game then?
Oh, we're confident, but we know it's going to be a good game. Both teams are evenly matched. It could go any way.
Hugh, Douglas Dryburgh feels he gave away the game in the round robin. How do you feel?
Well, I don't think that's really the case. He had a shot to win. It wasn't an easy shot, and I actually think they were pretty fortunate to be that close, because I played a really poor game, and we had a couple chances to put them away earlier in the game, and we didn't, and we left him a shot to win. He may have deserved to win the game, but he missed the shot, and I guess if you expect to win games like that, you're going to have to make your last shot, and he didn't, so I don't think it was a giveaway.
Are you confident coming into this championship game?
Absolutely, yeah. We played a good game in the semi last night, and we played pretty well last game in the round robin. I was struggling during the middle of the week. When we played Scotland, I wasn't playing well, but we're feeling good right now, and we played a good solid game last night, so we're pretty relaxed and ready to go out and win this one.
Our live coverage of this World Junior Men's Curling Final gets underway in just a moment, but right now let's go back to Sports Weekend Control, and here's Brian Williams.
All right, Don Whitman, it is a busy Saturday as usual here in CBC Television. Just a reminder, Hockey Night in Canada coming up tonight. That is at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. One game in the schedule. You will see the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Canadiens from the Forum in Montreal. Up next, the Uniroyal Junior Men's Curling as Sports Weekend continues live on this Saturday afternoon.
Back at the Esquimalt Sports Center as we get set for the opening rocks in this championship game. Hugh McFadyen and his Assiniboine Memorial Curling Club from Winnipeg, and Douglas Dryburgh from the Kirkcaldy Curling Club in Scotland. McFadyen with an 8-1 record. He struggled a bit during the week. At the midpoint of the week, as a matter of fact, he was having difficulties. However, he feels that he has regained his form, and after watching him last night, Don Duguid, I would have to agree.
Well, he played very well last night. Throughout the whole week, his average was 68%, while this young Scottish driver was 78%. Now, that's 10 percentage point swing, and that's really important when it comes down to skip. But as collectively, both teams played exactly the same all week. I would think that Hugh McFadyen is in for a big game. He played well last night, he hit well, he drew well, he did everything right, so he's playing with a lot of confidence.
Scotland will have first rock advantage as we begin this championship game. John Lange, the youngest member of this Canadian rink, settles down in the hack to get things underway. He's just 17 years of age.
And it's always nice to win the toss. For Dryburgh of Scotland, of course, it's always nice to have last rock in the very first end. Every major championship we cover, they have an opportunity to throw rocks in practice and get the feel of the weight and how the ice runs.
Okay, so. John. Yeah.
And
just a touch heavy, sliding through the back of the 12-foot.
Well, the nice part about that shot for young John Lange is that fact that McFadyen can now read that whole sheet because he threw it just through the back of the rings. You know, there's one thing, if you stop it just a foot over the hog line, you've only read about 3/4 of how the ice curls. by throwing it through the back of the rings. McFadyen knows how that in-turn runs.
Billy Andrew, the lead for the Scottish champions. Delivering the in-turn, and it will come to rest in the ring. Scotland buys 1.
And with any kind of weight at all, this ice runs very straight. It's good ice for drawing around guards because it'll work 2.5 feet, good curling ice. But anytime you pick your weight up and play takeouts, it runs fairly straight.
Roll right off. Yep, yep. Run. Run.
A nose hit for John Lange. Canada now has the shot stone, the only stone in the rings. A good crowd watching the action at the Esquimalt Sports Center. And it is a beautiful day on the West Coast. A forecast high today of 12 degrees, sunshine, flowers blooming.
Good for jogging.
They continue to exchange shots as Dryburgh changes the position with Billy Andrews' second stone of this opening end. And that's the one that McFadyen is asking Norman Gould, his second, to remove. Talking to the curlers after they completed their warm-ups, all 8 indicated that it would be rather difficult to try and bury behind a center guard, but there was a fair bit of movement to the outside of the rings.
Well, that's normally the case in arena ice, Don, is that it's a little bit high in the center, and so you're actually climbing a hill when you're trying to draw around the center part. But towards the edges, it curls pretty good. But last night, the ice was curling pretty good towards the center. After the pebble wears off a bit, gets a little bit smoother, then you'll see the rocks curl a bit more. And, you know, they're playing Scotland's type of game because they like to play a wide open hitting type of game. And of course, McFadyen not having last rock, he's just going to simply exchange shots with him and maybe hope for a break. But I'm sure Hugh McFadyen would love to start putting up some guards.
Norman Gould, the Canadian second. He's a student at the University of Winnipeg in his second year. And he removes the Scottish stone and gets the roll in the 12-foot. Canada has the shot stone. A straight exchange here on this opening end so far. The position has been changed as they make those takeouts. Lindsay Clark would like to get a hit and roll over the right-hand side of the house. He may roll too much, and it will go out of play.
You can see he hit about a quarter of a rock, Darner, just a little bit over a quarter of a rock, and the ice is very keen, and his shooter spun right out of the ring, so that indicates that the ice is very fast. McFadyen now is going to put one out in front. I don't think he'd want it too far out in front, because if it goes too far out in front, like about 2-3 feet, Scotland may elect to go around it, having the advantage of last rock. So I think he's asking Jonathan Mead maybe to put it very tight to the circles.
Jonathan Mead, who is the third on this Canadian rink, is also an assistant ice maker at the Assiniboine Memorial Curling Club, and he said, make sure you say hello to all the guys back at Assiniboine Memorial who are watching this afternoon, Jim Spencer and Ron Camerlock. So we say hello.
Hi.
Saves the price of a phone call for Jonathan Mead.
He gets nice and low to the ice. You notice that his eyes are just about rock height when he lets that rock go. He's what we call a tuck deliver up on his toe. Maybe been the best curler here all week.
Your eyes were at rock height when you were standing behind the stone. You didn't have to bend down to deliver.
You're going to start this, eh? Okay.
One, three.
Phillip Wilson going after that Canadian rock. He's got it and will get a roll, but it will stay in play just a few inches off the sideboards to the left.
Well, that rock doesn't look like much of a factor in this particular end, but You know, there is a chance that Scotland, if they have the opportunity to draw around that one, they may go around it.
Well, we saw in last week's Brier final how rocks sitting just inches away from the sideboards did in fact come into play.
Yes, 2 of them.
Well, Don Duguid remarked on how low Jonathan Mead gets in behind that stone. Let's watch him.
Watch his eyes. Watch where his head is. See, his eyes are just about handle height. Right in behind the rock. Good concentration. And his weight looks about right. Maybe top of the 12 foot.
Canada lies 1. All 4 members of the Canadian rink have their families here. Their parents are watching the action. Some have brothers and sisters taking in the play.
And for Phillip Wilson playing the out turn. You'll see him. See, look at the grip on his out turn there. He really holds the handle straight, which is kind of different. Then he kind of swings it and releases it. Quick! Boy, they're going to have to go on this one. I don't think a shooter's going to hang around. No, sir. Might have turned that one a bit in. And anytime you're a skip and you're playing the very first end of a game, it's always nice to get a draw. And for McFadyen, the opportunity exists here. He's going to get his draw weight.
Yeah. So we're 0 then? Oh, wait.
Well, McFadyen is going to play a draw. Let's hark back to your earlier comments about Scotland not liking the draw game.
Well, he really doesn't, you know. Like when I talked to Torrance, they'd sooner play a takeout game, you know. Last night in the semi-final, he could have come down and bumped a rock back and got 3. But let me tell you, he threw a runner at it, hit right on the nose. They're very accurate. But, you know, somebody else might have just played a quiet tap back, but he likes to throw weight. Dryburgh made a great shot in the extra end. His very first one, he come around 2 guards on the side and hit and rolled right to the button. And I think that shot won him the game. They're very good at takeouts.
And as you heard McFadyen in his opening remarks, he doesn't feel that Scotland should have won that round-robin game. And I agree with him. Anytime you have a chance to win and you don't make that final shot.
That's right. That's why you're throwing last rock. You're supposed to make them.
Canada would like to force Scotland to take 1 or even steal 1 here on this first end. McFadyen's initial offering of the opening end comes to rest in the top of the 12. That's the only stone in the rings, just 2 rocks in play. 1 belonging to Scotland, just inches away from the sideboards.
Now, an absolute perfect shot here for McFadyen, I'm sorry, for Dryburgh, Don, is if he hits half a rock, he could roll away over to the left and maybe just grab a biter behind that corner guard. Now, that's a pretty difficult shot at the very first end, but there is a possibility because they've thrown a lot of rocks down in the area that he's throwing. Lots of weight. Let me tell you, it's tough to hit the stick when you throw this kind of weight.
And that shooter won't hang around. It rolls out of the rings, and now Jonathan Mead is going to take a look, I think, along with Hugh McFadyen, at the possibility of sticking 1 in behind that corner guard.
That's exactly what he's going to do, and that's a good call. This is the way you force Scotland to take 1. If you can get it around that corner guard, it makes it a little bit more difficult for Dryburgh to come down and take it out. It's a good way to force Scotland to take 1.
Well, you don't mind when the opposition has last rock giving up a single point. You play for last rock advantage yourself, hoping that you can get more than 1.
Yes. You always like to force the opposition to take 1. The difficulty here for McFadyen, Don, is that he's playing an in-turn draw and really going away to the corner of the sheet where there hasn't been many rocks thrown in. Like, it will dig in at the end, so sweepers are very important here. Lange and Gould are really going to have to watch this one.
And of course, there's a little more frost buildup on the outside of the sheet as well.
Now he's just, you hear him yelling, lots of room, just a question away. They should bring it deep. It's going to start curling now. Now it's starting to come over. Now they should go with it.
Come on!
That's a nice draw weight. Kind of a guess on the ice, but you know, at the very first end, no rocks being played over there. It is a bit of a guessing game, playing the in-turn draw there. The perfect weight by Hugh McFadyen.
The McFadyen rink winners of the 1986 Canadian Junior Men's Curling Championship, and Jim Sullivan is the 1987 Canadian Junior Men's Curling Champion. He is here as the 5th member of this rink, and he and his New Brunswick mates will be representing Canada in the 1988 World Junior Championships to be held in Fusen, West Germany.
That'll be interesting to see what kind of weight Dryburgh throws.
Whoa!
He's thrown a lot of weight. He's still out there. He's very close to getting a corner of it.
Whoa!
He'd like to corner this stone and roll out himself, and he does. So Douglas Dryburgh is successful in blanking the opening end, and it's still scoreless after one end of play in this junior championship.
Spring into April with Sports Weekend. Be swept off your feet by the best curlers anywhere at the Men's World Championship. April means Augusta and the Masters, where legends prove you're never too old to win as the golf season returns to Sports Weekend. And so does Formula One racing from Rio, the Brazilian Grand Prix, raising the flag on our 17-event season.
Although officially this is only the first day of spring, residents of Victoria have been enjoying warm weather for some time. While some areas of the country must wonder if they'll ever escape winter's grip, Victoria is already in full bloom, spruced up and ready for the heavy influx of tourists who visit this BC capital city each year. And the charm and picturesque beauty of Victoria's landscaped gardens are a perfect complement to the island's rugged coastline. Vancouver Island and the city of Victoria in particular take you back to a bit of old England with its Tudor-style hotels, restaurants, and tea rooms. And if you enjoy high tea, Victoria's the place to be. Complete with fine bone china and silver tea service, this is the place. And a true ceremony it is when served in a relaxed setting, away from shopping or business, in Victoria's famed Empress Hotel. And this tranquility is sharply contrasted to the rugged wilderness of more than 300 miles of Pacific shoreline. End number 2, one stone in the rings. That belongs to Canada. There is also a corner guard out there, and the Scottish rink is going after that shot stone. This delivery has to do some curling. He'll get a piece of it. Clark will corner it out, and the shooter will roll in behind cover, but will it hang around? No, it too goes out the backside.
Well, Hugh McFadyen dropped one around that center guard. Scotland made a good hit and roll over to that side, and now they've just kind of hit and stuck, and now Scotland hit and rolled out. Now it's going to allow the opportunity for McFadyen again to go around it. He should know the ice because John Lange had beautiful weight. He was right in the forefoot.
Norman Gould trying to draw around that center guard with the outturn.
Wow. This is the type you can see. He's well outside that center line coming down.
Wow.
And the rock he's trying to go around, look at it, he's going to pass it by a good foot and a half. And he's going to be, look at that rock, it's not curling at all. It should start to move just a fraction now.
Hey, Norm.
Norman Gould, 20 years of age. He was a student at John Taylor Collegiate before moving on to the University of Winnipeg.
He's going to be very close to hitting it on the nose, or maybe a little bit of an inside roll. Not quite.
Lindsay Clark removing that Canadian stone. Scotland buys one. The only 2 stones in play belonging to the Scottish rink. They blanked the first end. They have last rock advantage. You see McFadyen tapping that shot stone, indicating that he would like a bit of hit and roll from his third, Jonathan Mead.
You can see McFadyen holding the brush right on the rock, Don, so it runs very straight. The pebble hasn't worn off yet, so it hasn't started to curl a little bit more. So you can see it runs very straight down here. The key is to not overthrow it. Nice carrying weight.
Whoa. Yeah.
Now it's starting to come over, but they leave it too long.
Come on! Fire! Hooray! Come on!
Oh, very close to missing it on the inside. See that rock hit the center line and started to curl on Jonathan Mead. And he's trying to figure that out. He's yelling down to McFadyen, should I throw more weight? Now look at here. Douglas Dryburgh is not taking any chances. He's running that guard off. He knows that Canada's trying to duck with it around, so he doesn't want any trouble. In essence, what he's saying, he's trying to win the game 1-0. You know, because he could draw around that one. Gonna run it off. We could have a very fast game here.
It could indeed be a quick game if they continue to play that style, and with last rock advantage, of course, that appears to be the style that Scotland wants to play.
But you know, one nose hit changes the whole complexion of an end. Canada gets a nose hit, they'll go around and make Scotland make some finesse shots.
Well, we certainly were treated to some finesse shots last week as we watched that Canadian Men's Championship and the Labatt Brier being decided in Edmonton.
There's Jonathan Mead once again, right down in behind the rock.
Halfway is good.
Lange and Gould just judging the weight now.
Easy now, easy. Just here.
Just keeping it clean.
Stone.
That's where they want it, right on the center line. Oh, look, that's pretty good. That rock is half on the center line. That's good curling.
And Douglas Dryburgh isn't going to leave that stone there. He is calling upon his third, Phillip Wilson, to remove it.
Looks like if Canada put one behind the hack, Scotland would hit it.
Well, Russ Howard and Bernie Sparks last week at the Labatt Brier final in Edmonton had a lot of stones in play, particularly on the last four ends.
Oh, that was an interesting game. A well-curled game. Deputy feels sorry for Sparks, and of course he laid it for Howard.
Here's a nose hit. Douglas Dryburgh didn't want that. Phillip Wilson hit that Canadian stone on the nose. Now Jonathan Mead and Hugh McFadyen discuss what they will do.
I
think the internal will come better because it's
sure don't hit
yeah.
Scots.
Okay.
even if you're a touch short, but it's not a whole much. It's about a good 0. Let's not play it too tight.
What, same as last end?
Yeah.
So they're just refreshing each other's minds. The same as last end. It hasn't keened up a bit. Now, the reason for them going to the intern, Don, when there was another rock out in play, was to the left of the center line. And they knew the ice there. Now where that rock is sitting, it's right on the center line. They have to go a little bit wider. It might not curl.
Last end and well, it doesn't seem to come very much with the out turn until it hits the center line. I think it'll come a little better with this turn.
That's why he skipped. Because it'll come a little bit better.
Of course, they have the benefit, as you have indicated, of practicing on the sheet of ice they are playing on. So they throw a variety of shots to determine how the ice reacts in various positions.
Now, with the broom he's taken on the edge of the forefoot, if he throws good draw weight to the forefoot, should go directly in behind that card. Because when I was watching him practice, that's exactly the ice their coach was giving him. To get into the forefoot.
He may have a little too much weight.
Oh, he's got a lot of weight, but look at him. He's nicely by the guard, a little bit strong. Is he going to hang on? No, he's going right through the house. Now we'll see what Scotland does. You want to gamble? You got last rock. They've only got one more to come. Drop it right in there.
About a quarter, right?
Hugh McFadyen apologizing to the front end as he makes his way down the ice. Beautiful line, just a touch heavy. Sensing perhaps a chance for two, Douglas Dryburgh is now going to try and get in behind that center guard.
and he's taking a little bit more ice. You know, McFadyen was a little strong on his draw, so he's going to take a little bit more to make sure. The key for the Scottish skip here, Don, is to make sure that he puts it in front of the tee line. If he puts it in front of the tee line in the 4-foot area, Scotland's got a good chance of scoring too. He doesn't want to slip behind the tee line, because if he does, McFadyen will just freeze to him, and then you'll have a tough time getting to.
Last night in that semi-final win over Switzerland, Scotland had jumped into a 6-2 lead after 5 ends, but they saw the Swiss fight back.
They're going to have to go on this one. It is starting to come across. He is going to be on the front, I think, or very close to it. Yes, he is.
Yeah. Once it comes off the center line, it'll come good.
You can run.
Need more ice. Need more ice. A wee bit inside.
No, it's been there.
Yeah.
Well, you see McFadyen, this rock has moved over here now, so he knows how the outturn runs, and he's going to try to place the rock with the outturn and get it somewhere in this area in here, in the 4-foot behind that guard. So that's what he wants to do. He knows that that rock has moved over a little bit. He has enough room to draw around it.
2 stones sitting out front, belonging to Scotland. Hugh McFadyen with his final stone of this second end. And if he doesn't get it in the rings,
no,
I think it's
more, but I think once it starts moving,
safe to assume that Douglas Dryburgh will blank the end.
Lots of room.
Hear him yelling, lots of room. See, that in-turn did a lot of curling, so now the out-turn runs very straight. Just a question of weight. They want to come in, but he's a long way out there. Is he going to come off the other one? No. Look at that rock bomb staying absolutely straight, right in between him. It's a wide open hit for Scotland. I think it's going to be very difficult to bury with the out-turn there.
Well, we saw on his first delivery just how much it does bend. With the out-turn, that rock just stayed outside the center line, almost all the way from the house to the hog line.
Short shoot.
Hugh McFadyen and Jonathan Mead intently watching as Scottish skip Doug Dryburgh gets ready for the final stone of this second end.
On.
Susie, let it go. Yell, come on.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Will he roll out? I believe he will. And we have had 2 consecutive blank ends. And Canada and Scotland are still scoreless after 2.
And on this Saturday afternoon, welcome back everybody to Sports Weekend Control in Toronto. That game in the NHL now in the 3rd period. Los Angeles Kings out in front of the Boston Bruins 5-3. Carson, the rookie, has a pair for the Kings, and a former King, the veteran Charlie Simmer, has 2 goals for the Boston Bruins. Tonight at 8 Eastern, Hockey Night in Canada, it is Toronto at Montreal. In tennis news today, John McEnroe beat Miroslav Mashir in a tournament in Rotterdam. They say McEnroe looked like the McEnroe of old. Right now, let's return you live to the curling in Victoria.
During the week in Victoria, there were many off-ice activities to occupy the leisure time of the World Junior Curlers. Included was a fishing trip.
There's a hole in it!
Some may have been a little reluctant to leave the frozen surface behind, but once out at sea, they began to enjoy the beauty of Canada's west coast. Some required a few tips on just how to go about handling rod and reel.
Watch, if you snag the bottom, make sure you put your hand on it like that so it doesn't spin really fast and get your knuckles.
Very early it became obvious that some were more skilled than others. And there were some who didn't show a great deal of enthusiasm for the task at hand. But if the fish weren't biting, what better way to spend an afternoon than relaxing and soaking up a few rays?
Hey! Hey! There you go. What the hell is this?
Mr. Brett Davis, that's his fish. USA! USA!
Not everybody went home empty-handed.
Jonathan! Look at this! Look at the size of it! It's a 5-pound rock!
It wasn't trophy size, but it was a fish. At least we think it was. A good time was had by all.
Thanks again.
And the spectators here at the Esquimalt Sports Center have also been enjoying themselves as they watch this championship game, still scoreless, playing end number 3. Canada does have a stone in the rings. Canada does not have last rock advantage, and Norman Gould is now attempting to cover that stone, sitting at the top of the 4-foot. Will they get it across the hog line?
Oh, they're working it hard, trying to get it. He's across. A little bit longer than Canada wanted it, Don, but they did a great job. Mead and Lange brushed that rock all the way down the ice. A lot of separation between the one that's on the button and, of course, the guard. Did a great job of brushing there by the front end. Scotland once again running it off. Partially removes the guard, but rolls over a little bit. The shot rock is wide open, but Canada will again place another guard out in front.
Stone's doing different play here.
Negative core for his guard, I guess.
McFadyen.
Yeah. That's okay.
Jonathan Mead will be attempting to cover up that shot stone.
Just over. Oh, just over.
You hear McFadyen yelling just over. That rock is starting to curl.
Come on! Yes!
I don't think it's going to offer much protection to that shot rock as it's pulling over. They're just trying to hope it rub off the Scottish one. Scottish one, and yes, it does. A little bit of break for Canada there. That rock would have pulled over too far to offer any protection for the rock in the 4-foot. Came off the Scotch guard and rolled over and covered up the shot rock.
Douglas Dryburgh takes a look at that stone just delivered by Jonathan Mead.
Yeah. Can wait, I'll maybe take 2 and follow in. Yeah. Good.
Phillip Wilson indicating to the skip that with the right weight, maybe he can remove both those stones sitting just in across the hog line.
Well, if he hits half a rock,
Just take the guard off. If I happen to be wide,
he may come off that other yellow one. You know, he may even spin fairly close to the circle, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how much he hits of this rock and if he's going to get any action on it to come off his own and maybe spin his shooter in towards the rings. But of course, their prime concern is just removing the shot rock. So they have to clear the front to do this. Oh, he's very close. There's an opening there. He's going to hit a little bit too thin. Just picked it off.
So Canada is left lying one, that blue-handled stone sitting on the button.
Now what Canada's trying to do here, Don, they're trying to put a guard out in front, okay? Hoping that maybe Scotland will try and run the guard off and hit it on the nose, and then Canada will go around it again. That way they'll have 2 in the house, well guarded. McFadyen just a little bit concerned about the ice. He's gone to the out turn for Jonathan Mead.
Well, Canada in that semifinal win last night over Norway scored 3 with last rock in the opening end. Then they stole 1 on the second end, and with a big steal of 3 on the third, it was all over.
Mead is a lot of weight, and that rock is pulling over. They're not brushing it because they want it to stop, because as closer it gets to that line, the less protection it adds for the shot rock. Oh, and just pulls up a little bit short. You see the shot rock. Scotland can see all of it. A question of whether he wants to go after the shot rock or maybe run the two of them.
Perhaps the decision there after that rock began to curl as it did would be to get it to the top of the 12-foot.
Oh yes, to get in second shot. If it's not going to offer any protection, sometimes the best guard is second shot.
Two-thirds. Two-thirds. Two-thirds.
What he's saying, he's yelling down. Phillip Wilson is yelling to Douglas Dryburgh that I can see two-thirds of the rock. If he can hit what he can see, Don, he'll roll to the left-hand side behind that long corner guard up there. On the left-hand side.
Strike weight.
Strike weight. That's the terminology they use in Scotland. Strike, not take up, strike.
1, 3, 5.
He's very tight to that guard. Is he going to get by? Oh! Good shot. A nice little bit of a roll behind the long corner guard on the left-hand side.
Call it a strike or a takeout. It was delivered perfectly by Phillip Wilson, and Scotland lies 1.
You can see how very close he come to the guard. They brushed it all the way down the ice, but look at the weight he's got.
There.
He threw that a ton. Squeezes by the guard nicely, hits the Canada rock, and rolls a little bit to the left-hand side. Forcing McFadyen to play the in-turn on. Now he threw an in-turn draw down there in the very first stand. He's just trying to establish in his own mind what kind of weight he's going to throw.
Should come pretty good that way.
Easy?
Yeah.
I'll run good. I think John might have rolled it a bit, eh? We start it.
His guard there, or when he played the hit there?
All kinds of hand signals. See Norman Gould indicating to Jonathan Mead that he's going to throw quiet weight. Just hope that it's going to curl enough. There's a chance if McFadyen hits half a rock, he could roll behind the center one. Oh, he's got a lot of weight on this one.
Will they get past that corner guard?
Oh, he's well by it. Now he wants to get the roll. Maybe too much. Good shot by McFadyen. Rolls fairly well into the open. But a good shot. A nice touch by McFadyen from Canada. There you see, roll to the left. Fairly well open. The nice thing for Canada about this is that he's forcing Dryburgh to go out a little bit wider, and they're not sure how it runs down there. It should run fairly straight, but he doesn't have much room for error. And you saw Phillip Wilson turn to Hugh McFadyen and say, "Good shot, Hugh," and it was. Great shot. Now, for Douglas Dryburgh.
With the perfect feel through.
Doesn't take long once he makes up his mind.
On! Whoa! On! Whoa! Whoa!
Usually when they're yelling, "Hurry, whoa," he's very close to making a perfect shot. Look at this. Oh, what a great shot. And rolls about the same spot he did the first time, only it's in the back of the 8-foot.
Did you see any of it? Same as last time.
Yeah. Same thing?
So the same thing, just knows it.
You know, McFadyen yelled down, "Can you see any of it?" He says, "Oh yeah, same as last time." The nice thing for Canada, Don, is that the guard that he's trying to go around is well out, just about 1.5 feet over the hog line. So when he gets to that guard, it's got a lot of room to do curling. I mean, if that guard was tight, then you have to play it very quiet because there's not much room between the guard and the rock that you're trying to hit. But there's a lot of room. This rock is over about 3 inches.
No, we don't need to play it tight. He'll come a lot at the end.
Yeah.
getting comfortable. You heard him say that it'll come a lot at the end. Now Mead will, as soon as McFadyen lets this go, Don, Mead will make a decision whether how close he is to the broom. The sweepers will judge the weight.
Yep.
They're going to have to go on this one.
Come on!
He said he didn't have to play it tight to that corner guard. Is he going to get past it?
Oh, he's tight. He's very close. He's by. Oh, a great shot. He may roll in behind the guard again. This time only better.
Perfect.
Oh, it's a beautiful shot. Just a great shot by McFadyen. Rolled directly behind the guard. You'll see he just squeaks by the guard. Lange stays right with it, brushes it to the top of the house, but look at the nice roll Canada gets. Mead jumps on it right away, brushes it slightly, and he's right in behind the guard.
Okay, we could have had it a bit more, right?
Now you see Scotland, Don, they're taking the brush away out here, and what he doesn't want to do is curl in here like this and maybe nudge the Canada rock into the ring, and that's why he's taking the broom away out there. He's playing the cold draw. He doesn't want to fool with that rock in front because it's only about 2 inches out in front.
Douglas Dryburgh with his final stone almost has to catch a piece of the forefoot to be shot.
He can catch a piece of the forefoot. If he's got perfect draw weight, he should be able to catch a piece of the forefoot. He certainly doesn't want to touch that one in front or Canada will steal 2.
For those who may not be all that familiar with curling terminology,
Come on!
the red circle is the 12-foot, the white is the 8-foot, and the black is the 4-foot. Of course, the colors vary depending upon the curling rate.
This is a good shot by Dryburgh. I don't know whether it's going to curl enough for him to catch a piece of the forefoot. He's going to be very close. He may be, oh, that's a great shot. Right on the tee line, piece of the forefoot.
Well, Canada achieves what it had hoped to do on this third end. If they can't get one themselves, they force Scotland to take one.
Sports Weekend has curling covered with just 2 '87 championships left. Next Saturday, we'll have end-by-end reports as Canada's Pat Sanders rink takes aim at the Women's World Championship in Chicago. And in 2 weeks, we'll be in Vancouver for the Men's World Championship, a title won last year by the Ed Lukowich rink from Calgary. The '87 Brier champion Ontario foursome defends that title April 4th and 5th.
CBC Sports Weekend.
For the visitor to Victoria, there are many things to do, and the organizing committee made sure that the World Junior Curlers saw all the sights.
And it's been here for coming up for 16 years. And he has tried to collect some of the more collectible, more classic cars of America, because that is where he was raised, and those are the kinds of cars that he built.
The 39 volunteers working on the organizing committee under Chairman Ken Moore kept the World Junior Curlers on the move, traveling throughout the city, visiting the sites, including BC's legislature. And all will go home with many fond memories of their trip to Canada's West Coast. Of course, the best memories of all belong to the rink that heads home with the gold medal in the 1987 World Junior Men's Curling Championship. At the moment, Scotland has the upper hand, leading by a 1-0 margin.
You know, the nice part about that shot by Doug Dryburgh is the fact on he hasn't played too many draws, and all of a sudden he's forced to draw to the corner of the forefoot, and he put it right on the tee line. That's unbelievable curling.
Norman Gould misses the takeout attempt on the Scottish rock. And now Dryburgh immediately calls upon his second, Lindsay Clark, to cover it up.
You know, I don't know whether I'd want to get down 2 or 3 points to Scotland, because they're a very good hitting team. And if you get down 2 or 3 on them, it may be very difficult to come back, because the ice is straight, and that's the strong part of their game, the hitting game. You know, when you're playing a hitting team, drop them out in front. Force them to make a lot of shots.
Yeah, it's front ring anyway.
I'm yelling, it's front ring anyway. He's coming in a little bit too close, and he wanted, setting up a possible double for Canada. You want to make sure that rock is out in front.
Lindsay Clark, a 20-year-old dairy farmer from Ayrshire. When he's home, his responsibilities, make sure about eating cows are milked daily.
Oh. Gould trying to redeem himself here.
Will he spill both of them? No.
Rock ran very straight for him. I think he figured it would have worked a little bit more, or curled a little bit more and hit it on the nose and made the double, but didn't work out. Now, see, Scotland has changed their attack here. They're not going to play guards out in front. They're going to say, okay, Canada, we're going to split the house, lie 2. We're going to exchange the hits through this whole end, and you're going to have to hit McFadyen against 2 to score a point. And that's what basically he's trying to do, is force them to take 1, or if Canada happens to slip and hit and roll out, they'll steal another one. Then they have control of the game.
Has Phillip Wilson got enough to get into the rings?
Let me tell you, Scotland's playing very, very well. Anytime they've had pressure shots, they've made them all. You know, there's such, you know, they talk about momentum in hockey or baseball and everything. The same thing happens in curling. You know, Scotland's got that great draw by the skip from Scotland. Pulled his team out of a little bit of a jackpot, scored a point. They have control of the game. Now they're lying 2. So you would say the momentum is with Scotland.
Yep.
The out-turn takeout attempt on the stone just delivered by Phillip Wilson. Jonathan Mead watches it. He could get a roll in behind cover. No, he'll roll out of the rings. He corners that Scottish stone. 1 stone in play. That's the one sitting at the top of the 8-foot.
Well, you're right. Mead would have liked to hit that rock and maybe roll behind the other one on the left-hand side, but he just got a corner of it. Once again, Scotland basically playing very simple shots here.
Phillip Wilson, 21 years of age, lives in Stranraer.
Be heavy on this thing. On. Hurry.
He's also a lawn bowler. He was telling me he has been involved in the Scottish county championships on a couple of occasions.
On. Hurry. Whoa.
Lawn bowling. That's with the weighted ball on the one side. It curls in towards the center, towards the kitty.
Have you ever done any lawn bowling?
I've thrown a couple of bowls.
Which one's higher?
Gotta hit about half this for that.
McFadyen looking for the double to get out of this end. Even a good hit and roll on top of that one will force maybe Scotland to play a different type of shot. But right now they're just playing wide open draws. A little bit of pressure on Canada here.
Come on! Come on! Hurry! Whoa! Okay.
That's a good shot, Benny. I'll tell you why, Don, he forces Scotland to make at least a hit and a stick. You know, but with Canada hitting and rolling out all the time, Scotland simply had wide open draws to keep the pressure on.
Scotland still has the shot rock.
Wilson kind of kneeling down. Dryburgh playing the in turn.
Whoa!
Elbow right away. He's got good carrying weight. He's going to make a good hit. If he wants to sit right there, that's exactly what he does. So once again, Scotland has the pressure on. Well, a lot of people might say, well, why doesn't he hit the shot rock and maybe roll behind cover on the left-hand side, which isn't a bad call. No, but he's going to elect to play the second shot rock, hope to get a lot of action on his shooter, and roll over, maybe kind of corner freeze it and end up with shot rock and the one on the right-hand side.
Yeah, if we know
the angle is better for him.
In the front of a rock, be out of the rings, he's going to have to hit and roll in.
Or, like McFadyen says, he hits that one on the left-hand side, stays right there. Douglas Dryburgh will hit it on the nose, and he won't be in the ring. So that's the way McFadyen would get out of the end. Then he'd simply play a hit on the one that shot. But I'm sure he'd like to get a little bit of action on this one. Roll over to the one on the left-hand side. Maybe even make it up.
Hooray!
They're going to have to go on this one. It is starting to pull over there. Is he going to stay?
So now a nose hit would leave the Scottish stone outside the rings. Scotland lies 1. Stone just delivered by McFadyen. The nose hit on the second shot rock belonging to Scotland. At times, curling can almost be like a chess game, attempting to manipulate, move the stones around like you would with the pieces.
Well, that's exactly right. It's a chess game, and you have to decide how you're going to play the end, how you're going to attack the end, whether you're going to play offense or defense. But for Scotland here, Don, if he hits this rock, he can roll over to the right-hand side and actually guard the one that he has in the 8-foot. He wants to get a little bit of roll so that he's at least lying 2. That way he forces Canada to take 1.
Come on! Hurry!
Okay, he held it away.
Whoa! Whoa!
He's going to hit about half a rock. Is he going to hang around? Is it going to spin out of the rings? Yes, it does. And a little bit of a break there for Canada.
That's what Douglas Dryburgh did not want to do. Quite an intense young man. 21 years of age.
Pardon? Yeah.
He's been very prominent in Scottish curling playdowns at both the junior men's and senior men's levels for the past couple of years.
Shit.
But he'd like to have hit and stayed there because the whole end he's had the advantage and a lot of pressure on Canada. You know, for the sake of maybe hitting it just a fraction thicker, he's let Canada off the hook here. If McFadyen can hit and roll up.
Yeah, I'll make sure we got it.
Hugh McFadyen, Assiniboine Memorial Curling Club in Winnipeg, playing the out turn.
Come on!
First of all, with his stone, he has to make sure he makes contact. It looks like he's going to get a nose hit. So Canada gets a single point on end number 4. And after 4 ends, Canada and Scotland are all even at 1.
Good afternoon again, everyone, and welcome back to Sports Weekend Control in Toronto. Good hockey game this afternoon at the Boston Garden. There is now 1 minute and 20 seconds to play in the third period. The Boston Bruins, who trailed the Los Angeles Kings by a score of 5-3, have tied the game. It is 6-6, Boston and the Los Angeles Kings with 1 minute and 20 seconds to play. A baseball note today, 42-year-old Steve Carlton, a certain Hall of Famer, released by the Philadelphia Phillies. Right now, let's return you live to the curling in Victoria.
Brian, the All-Stars were selected last evening. Stefan Tiemann of Switzerland was chosen the All-Star lead. Lindsay Clark of Scotland, the All-Star second. Jonathan Mead of Canada, the All-Star third. And the All-Star skip, Douglas Dryburgh of Scotland. An additional honor for Jonathan Mead. He was named the Sportsmanship Award winner and was presented with a tray by Phillip Dawson, the president of the International Curling Federation. And that same Sportsmanship Award was won at the Briar in Edmonton by this man, Jim Armstrong. And Jim, disappointment at the Briar, that final end. I'm sure you and Bernie Sparks and the other members of that BC rink would like to play that one over again.
Well, Don, that's kind of the way the sport goes. But I think most importantly, although we would like to obviously have played in the World Championship at home in Vancouver, we've got a good rep. Russ Howard and his boys will play well. I'm sure I'm not going out on a limb to pick them as a favorite to win.
Jim, it's Don Duguid. If you had the chance to play the 10th over again in that game, what would you have done different?
Got 4 in the 9th. No,
you committed yourself early.
Sure, that's right. We wanted our first rock, top of the 4-foot, and we got it just off the center line. They threw the corner, and we missed it. We were into it then. I'm sure Bernie's been second-guessed quite a bit on that, but as far as I'm concerned, we had trouble all week peeling. There's quite a bit of hook in the ice. It was excellent ice, and we were into it early, and we just never had an opportunity to bail it out. The Howard boys, they all played well. They made a couple of real key picks on us that end, and they're full marks for the win.
Jim, you won't get the opportunity to play in the World Championship under the dome in Vancouver, but you will be very involved as part of the committee that is working to stage a very successful
Well, that's right, Don.
championship.
Of course, this goes back some years now. Going to the Briar and getting that close was kind of just an added bonus. But we're looking forward to a really good event. You know, the success of Expo, the Vancouver people, you know, we've got some talent that probably a lot of people aren't aware of. As you know, the facility is something probably we'll never see a curling event in again. It's just going to be tremendous. The ceremonies committee telling me that we've got some real special little things planned that I'm sure will never be seen again at a curling event. And we'd sure invite everybody to come down. And as you can tell from the weather here, don't forget to bring your golf clubs.
Well, Jim, with 50,000 seats under the dome, there are tickets still available, I would guess.
Of course, we've tailored it down somewhat, as you know, Don. But we've got a good batch of tickets sold. But of course, with the convenience and the size of the facility, we've got all kinds of good tickets still available, and we certainly invite everybody to come over to Vancouver and enjoy our hospitality.
Well, Jim, I'm sure that everyone who attends the Silver Broom, or the World Curling Championship as it is now called, will enjoy their week in Vancouver. Thank you for stopping by and chatting with us as we pick up action here in the fifth end. It's a 1-1 game, Canada and Scotland, 2 stones sitting out front, both belonging to Scotland, and now Hugh McFadyen is looking for Jonathan Mead, his third, to get behind that corner guard.
You know, Don, Canada is not very sharp. They're making some good shots, but they're not putting the rock in the right spot to put any kind of pressure on Scotland. That draw by John Mead, while he tucked it around the guard, he passed that guard by a good 1.5 feet. If he goes by it fairly close, he's completely buried. So they're not quite putting the rock in the right spot. And as a result, Scotland's had very simple shots to play. You see the 2 guards out in front. Dryburgh asking Wilson to play a takeout. Now that's in the general area where McFadyen made a couple of good hits in the third end. And they know how it runs down there. Once it hits the center line, curl over pretty good. Looked to me like he's throwing big weight at this one. He's going to be very tight to that guard.
Oh, he's just by that guard.
Oh. And the weight that he threw at is unbelievable. You know, you have to be ever so exacting to throw that kind of weight, skin the guard, and make a nose hit. That's unbelievable. You'll see, like, he threw big weight at this. He just goes by the guard. You can almost not see daylight. Look at that rock was half buried, and he hits it almost on the nose. That's how tight he was to the guard. Good shot.
Rolling into the open at the top of the 4-foot. Now, it's possible for Jonathan Mead to roll either way and go behind cover.
Of course, Canada does not have fast rock here. They would like to get a little bit of roll. They want to get Scotland's weight down, so they have to finesse the rock a little bit. Now they're making a decision which way they're going to sweep it. Good roll, but he rolled well into the open, which isn't a bad shot. Although it's not behind cover, the room for error is less over here because Scotland hasn't got much rings to work with. If they hit and roll out, then McFadyen maybe go around the corner guard a little bit better, a little bit tighter.
McFadyen, after winning the Canadian Junior Championship back home in Winnipeg, was playing some street hockey and suffered a broken wrist. And he had his right wrist in a cast for about 3 months. So he was a little concerned as the 1986-87 curling season got underway, just how that injury would respond, but he hasn't had any problems.
I think here's what Canada wants. It could be a hit and roll out by Scotland, and that's exactly what happened. You know, we're sitting directly behind the sheet, Don, and he threw that one wide. It never had a chance right at the start. He was very fortunate, Wilson, to hit that rock.
So now Hugh McFadyen will attempt to go behind that corner guard to the left, the same one that John Mead placed a stone behind earlier on this end.
It's nice clean stuff.
Sitting right behind the sheet, you see the team mascot for Canada. stuffed bear adorned with pins that the boys have collected during the week. His name is Spike. Norman Gould said his sister gave them the mascot. She wanted to call it Cuddles, but he thought Spike would be more appropriate.
Yeah, it's kind of cute. Good luck, Charlie. Well, McFadyen looking for a good shot here. You hear him saying lots of room and lots of weight. They haven't laid a brush to it. Now it's going to start cutting on him. By the guard. Lots of weight. Oh, McFadyen has put this one in the coffee shop.
McFadyen had an earlier opportunity, I believe it was on the first end, where he had a chance to draw in behind cover and make it the second end, and he was just a touch heavy. The rock did curl in behind the guard, but he was just a little heavy. A similar shot here.
Exactly the same shot. Both the in turn. And it's a little bit smoother down there now because they've been up and down 4 times now, 5 times, and it's getting a little bit quicker down there. You know, one thing about throwing a heavy draw is your sweepers don't have a chance. At least if you throw it light, they got a chance to sweep it into the rings.
Little worms couldn't stop sleeping until the rock and put you on and smash on the head. Sweeping that one on the top 4 foot.
Now for Dryburgh. He's a long way out. He's taking a little bit more ice than the McFadyen. He's well by the guard. Now they should bring it a bit. Look at, he passed the guard by a good foot. Now it should start to curl over. Deeper the better. Nice weight. Back of the 4 foot.
Yeah.
Pretty well buried.
We either gotta like get it all the way out or freeze it perfect. I don't think I want to leave a shot for 2. Let's play high.
Quarter.
Quarter? Okay. No.
Norman Gould down at the other end was indicating how much of the rock he could see.
Well, where that rock stopped,
Where are you throwing?
you heard McFadyen and Mead kind of talking, should we freeze to it? I certainly don't want to give him 2. You know, by freezing to it, and if he doesn't make the perfect freeze, there is a chance Scotland, of course, could chip him out and score 2. They've decided to play the takeout, just quiet takeout, and if he throws just a little bit more weight than his draw, it should come over, because that's the path he went through.
Okay.
But this is a pressure shot, because he knows he has to remove a rock now. There's a difference between trying to take out a rock and just a free draw. The thing you do not want to do is overthrow it. Overthrow it, he's allowed to run very straight down there.
Just a touch more than he had with his last delivery on this.
All he wants. That rock is a long way over there. Now it's starting to move off that line. He's got about another 4 or 5 inches to curl yet before he makes contact. It's coming over. He's got a piece of it, enough to take it out. Yes, a good shot. Is a shooter going to hang around? Oh, just spun out of the rings at the last minute. So this will be a pitch out for Scotland. Throwing it right through the rings.
Another chance with last rock for Douglas Dryburgh to blank this 5th end, and the score will remain tied at 1. Scotland was able to blank the first 2 ends, attempting to pick up more than 1 with final stone, but they had to settle for a single point on the 3rd with a fine draw to the 4 foot by Dryburgh. A nose hit by Hugh McFadyen created a tie in the 4th, and on this 5th end we have Douglas Dryburgh deliberately blanking the end to retain last rock advantage into end number 6. So as that stone whistles through, the score remains tied at the midpoint of this championship game, and they will set about to clean the ice here at the Esquimalt Sports Center, and we will endeavor to chat with the 2 competing skips, Hugh McFadyen and Doug Dryburgh. 1-1 is the score. And I believe I owe an apology to Stefan Thiemann, the all-star lead in the competition. I think I mentioned that he was from Switzerland. He is, in fact, from Sweden. So now that we've set the record straight on that one, we can mention that Thiemann from Sweden, Park from Scotland, Mead from Canada, and Dryburgh from Scotland, the all-star team. The skip of the Canadian rink, Hugh McFadyen, is now standing by down at ice level. Hugh, your thoughts about play over the first 5 ends?
Well, I think so far it's been fairly well played game. We've had a few opportunities to bury around guards. We just haven't made them, but I think we'll keep putting them up front, and they're gonna keep nosing them, I think, and sooner or later we'll get one around.
They don't seem at all willing to gamble. They want to keep things pretty clean.
Yeah, they do. They played more of an aggressive game, I think, during the round robin, and I'm a little surprised at the way they're playing now, but I guess they just don't want to get too many rocks in play, because we've been playing fairly well with a gambling style of game lately. But they're going to nose guards, and so sooner or later we're going to have to bury one and put some pressure on them.
Hugh, you've missed a couple of in-turn draws burying around guards. Is the ice a little bit keener today than it was yesterday?
Yeah, it's keened up by a fair bit from how it was during the round robin. I'm just fighting the weight a little bit, but I think I've got it under control now, so I just have to get the right line and the right weight in the same shot, and we should be okay.
Hugh McFadyen, good luck over the final 5 ends. Let's go to the other end now, where the skip of the Scottish champions, Doug Dryburgh, is standing by. Doug, has this match gone pretty much the way you thought it would?
Well, it's going okay for us just now. We're just keeping it pretty clean. We've not getting into any bother. If the boys could rip off a couple of guards at the start of the end, it would be a bit easier. Hugh's missed a couple of in-turn draws, putting through the back, which has helped us a bit. He'll get his weight sooner or later, so we'll have to keep it clean a wee bit at the front of the house, or we're going to be in a wee bit of bother.
You made a fine draw on the 3rd end under pressure coming to the tee line.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did.
It seems in watching your play during the course of the week that you would prefer the hitting game to the draw game. Is that an accurate assessment, or does it really matter?
No, I think we can do anything. We can do both parts of the game. We're good at both teams. Both teams are good at both parts. You just have to take it how it comes. If there's stones in, you're going to hit. If there's guards on corner guards, we're going to draw. So the team can do both, yeah.
Well, it's 1-1 after 5 ends of play. Doug Dryburgh, good luck over the final 5 ends.
Thank you.
Canada and Scotland all even in this battle for the Uniroyal World Junior Men's Curling Championship. Canada and Scotland about set to resume play on end number 6. And the honorary chair people, I guess we would have to say, of this Uniroyal World Junior Championship, Bernie Sparks and Lindsay Sparks. Lindsay, you've been here all week. Bernie, your arrival was delayed a bit because of your commitments at the Briar. Lindsay, have you enjoyed yourself?
It's just been a great week, Don. The hospitality of Victoria is once again superb, and I think all these boys will go home with fond memories of Victoria.
Bernie, your thoughts on the caliber of curling you've witnessed?
I'm impressed. I'm especially impressed with their hitting abilities. They're very seldom run by a rock here. They're hitting so well.
Lindsay and Bernie, with your combination, what I want to know is how come you two don't curl mixed?
Well, we were successful one year and then runner-up to Steve Skilling's in '85, but this year we came up quite a bit short, so maybe that's down the road for us somewhere.
Well, let's move ahead to 2 more events that are coming up on the curling agenda for 1987. Lindsay, your thoughts on the women's world. You've been there, you've won it. Pat Sanders is the Canadian representative. How will she do?
I really think that Patty has a good chance. I know that the field this year is extremely strong, probably the strongest they've ever had. But Patty's a great shot maker, and they've got a really good team. I'm looking forward to them having a really successful week.
The same question to you, Bernie. You played Russ Howard at the Briar. How will he do at the World Men's?
I think he'll do well, providing they have good ice conditions. That'll probably be the determining factor as to how good the ice can be in the big building there.
The future for Bernie and Lindsay. Will you be involved in men's and women's playdowns next year in BC? Go ahead, Bernie.
You take that one, Vern.
I'm not retiring yet, if that's what you're asking.
Go for 15, Bernie.
Well, we haven't talked about next year at all. We've got our Olympic trials to go through yet, and you know, sometime in the summer we'll kick it around, I guess.
Lindsay, how about you?
Well, we really haven't talked about it either, but if Bernie's not going to retire, then neither am I, so we'll go for it again.
Well, we look forward to seeing you as competitive curlers again next year. In the meantime, enjoy your last few hours as honorary chairpersons here at the Uniroyal World Junior Championship.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Don.
Lindsay and Bernie Sparks, and a very fine decision made by the organizing committee to have those two outstanding British Columbia curlers as the chairpersons this week.
Well, they've done a lot for curling in BC. You know, and I was serious. I think Bernie, the way he played this year, and Jim Armstrong, he could win 15 provinces.
Canadian lead John Lange has an edge over his Scottish counterpart Billy Andrew as far as percentage is concerned through the first 5 ends of play. Andrew removes that Canadian stone, and the shooter rolls out as well.
You know, I was impressed with Douglas Dryburgh, you know, and he said, we can play any type of game you want, whether you play draw or hit or anything. He says, we're very capable of playing both types of game, and that shows a lot of confidence. He's a very confident young man. Of course, if you don't have confidence, it's very difficult to make the good shots.
John Lange has his parents, Jack and Allie Lange, watching the action along with brother Eric.
I have to tell you about John Lange. This team went, Hugh McFadyen went in the Manitoba Bonspiel, 848 teams, and you're guaranteed 8 games, and if you lose in the major events, you drop to a minor event. Well, they decided, they lost a game, they dropped to a minor event, they decided to let John Lange skip. Norm Gould played third, Hugh McFadyen played second, and Jonathan Mead played lead. You know that John Lange, they won a trophy, he went through undefeated in one of the events, 7 straight games. So there's a blow for the leads. There, that's great.
Yes, indeed. Billy Andrew, who just removed that Canadian stone, he'll be hanging around the West Coast for a while, as he is going to be the 5th man on the Scottish rink at the World Men's Championship.
Well, look.
Norman Gould, Stormin Norman as he is nicknamed by his teammates, trying to play that center guard. They're hoping for a nose hit by the Scottish team here, and then they will attempt to sneak in behind cover.
Well, it's boiling down to who's going to have last rock coming home.
Quite a number of fans from Assiniboine Memorial, the home club of these Canadian champions, taking in the action here at the Esquimalt Sports Center. A misstep coming out of the hack by,
it's called a bulk ball,
Lindsay Clark.
To me, like his foot slipped a bit.
Norman Gould has a big edge at 87% as opposed to the 65% that Lindsay Clark is curling. For those who are watching, what is the rule with regard to coming out of the hack and slipping, falling, losing control of the rock, whatever?
You can have a false start like he just did there, but once you start sliding out the rock with the rock, and once you go by that tee line, it is considered a shot. So if you're flat on your face or your back and your stomach, you might as well give it a push, because it has to get down to the other end. But you can false start like that as long as you don't slide over the tee line.
And again, the tee line, the intersection of the center line and the line that runs through the house, right through the button.
There's one rockin' playing. Hugh McFadyen from Canada is trying to get Scotland to get a nose hit. He has to make the Scottish team play the fine shots.
Shot. Again, Douglas Dryburgh calls upon Lindsay Clark to remove that stone.
Well, for our viewers, Don, Manitoba's Norm Houck won the Canadian Senior Men's Curling Championship today, beating an old friend of mine from Saskatchewan, Bain Secord, 8-6 in a special playoff, Prince George. Congratulations to the Houck team. Very nicely done.
Well, Norm Houck was very active. I think back in 1962, he was a contender for the Canadian Men's Championship. And Bain Secord is a former Canadian Junior Men's Champion.
Exactly. And of course, Nova Scotia's Verda Kempton won the Senior Ladies title.
Again, the percentage favors Canada in the comparative statistics.
Boy, those are great percentages. Look at 85 and 82. Ooh, not much to choose from.
Well, Jonathan Mead, the all-star third and winner of the Sportsmanship Award. And again, we get a close look at how he gets right down behind that stone, taking dead aim on the broom. Almost as though he's looking down the sight of a gun barrel.
Yes. He's so low, he almost slides under the hog line, not over it.
Wow.
Good sound delivery. Go deliver. Been great here all week. Very high percentages. And you know, to win major championships or world championships, you have to have a good third who sets it up for what they call maybe easy shots for the skip. But if your third is really struggling, boy, you're in a lot of trouble. You almost have to change your game style. Maybe resort to some different type of methods in skipping strategy. Your lead is strong. You're not afraid to gamble.
Whoa! Whoa!
Look at here. Oh. Still there.
So that corner guard still sits over on the left-hand side of the sheet. Hugh McFadyen initially indicated that perhaps he would like to go in behind that corner guard, but Jonathan Mead said, let's throw one more center guard.
Well, I think, you know, what they should do is like Mead says, throw up another guard, make Scotland hit it and roll out, put up another guard, maybe very tight to the rings, Scotland may run it off. Then with McFadyen's last draw, go around that corner guard. That way he forces Scotland to take one. Now there's always the danger, of course, McFadyen throwing up a guard with his first one and Scotland ignore it and go around it. So you have to kind of know your opposition, what they would plan on doing.
Yeah, a little
bit of a gamble. And when you're playing these guards and trying to steal points, you want them tight. And that's why you hear McFadyen yell, come on, come on. Don't leave it too far out. McFadyen yelling to John. Good curling, John.
One of the interesting things about the World Junior Men's Curling Championship is that the curlers are all billeted with various families in the host city. And here in Victoria, the Canadian champions are staying with Don and Lauren Sutton. And the Scottish ring are staying with Bob and Mark Little. And they have all spoken very highly and very complimentary about their hosts.
Oh, yes. Hosts are a very important part of running a national championship. The boys just have a great time. See, McFadyen's not going to throw up a guard. He's going to go around. I tell you, the danger here for McFadyen going around, Don, is that if he slips behind the tee line, Scotland will simply follow him down and freeze to it and maybe score two that way.
Slight edge in the skipping department as far as those percentages go to Dryburgh of Scotland.
Well, you take McFadyen curling at 70%, Don. If you take those two missed draws, you know, that's worth about 8 percentage points.
And could be worth a couple of points on the scoreboard as well. He had beautiful line on both those missed draws on the second end and again on the fifth end. He was in behind cover, just a little heavy. Had he been able to hide those stones, it could have changed the entire complexion of the end.
You have to make those, Don. Put a little bit of pressure. This is a big shot for McFadyen. Brush being held by Mead right on the center line.
Good.
See, the difficulty for McFadyen is he's been drawing down the center. Now he's going over in the corner again, which may be a little bit heavier. He's got a nice looking line. Mead watching the line. They haven't laid a brush to it yet. Now they got to make sure they get it in. Now it's starting to vary. That's a good shot. Oh, that's a super shot. That is right behind the guard, in front of the tee line, and just snuggling up to that 8-foot circle.
Beautiful. That one is just wire.
Good saving, guys.
Let's see what he does with this one. Let's see what he does with this one.
Nice weight. Nice. It's going to be higher than his weight here. Just take side line.
So Douglas Dryburgh with his first stone on this sixth end, is looking at a Canadian rock behind cover.
Well, for Dryburgh, what he wants to do is he's trying to pull this rock around this Canadian rock and catch a back piece of the 8-foot. But the key is to get it around that guard. There's lots of room for him. It's just a question of trying to bury around the one that Hugh McFadyen just took there. He's got lots of room. That rock belonging to Canada is on the top of the 8-foot. He's got the back of the 8-foot to draw to.
Just front ring. Whoa.
You hear Dryburgh yelling, just front ring. I mean, if he's on the front ring, he's not shot rock. He has to pull it around there. He has to be shot rock. There he goes.
Come on.
Now, why would he yell just front ring and he puts it in an exact perfect spot? A little bit in the open. Now, what do you say to a guy? Well, just front ring, and he puts it in the perfect spot around the corner guard.
In fairness to Dryburgh, I believe that was Phillip Wilson III we heard yelling just front ring.
Ah, okay.
But now, Hugh McFadyen, if he can follow the same path the rock of Dryburgh just traveled, he can push that one back to lie 2 and put some pressure on the Scottish champion.
He has to move it about 1.5 feet.
Yeah, I think I'll get it though. Big deal.
Now Mead is holding the broom, not quite on the edge of the 4-foot. Giving McFadyen about 16 inches of ice, so McFadyen's going to throw fair takeout weight here. He's not going to just play quiet weight. Danger is that he has to make sure that he catches a piece of it.
Good looking line.
He's on it now. Now it's starting to come over. He's got a good looking shot. He wants to roll in the center. Oh, beautiful shot. Oh, an exceptional curling shot by Hugh McFadyen. A beautiful roll. The nice part of it for Canada is that he's changing the shot for Scotland. Good judging by Mead, the front end of Lange and Gould doing a good job of brushing, and see he's well by the guard, well by his rock in the 8-foot. Nice roll. Look how fast Mead jumped on that rock to sweep it out of that area. That's being alert. Now, for Douglas Dryburgh, an out-turn takeout.
And this is an area where that rock will not curl all that much.
Well, if he happens to hook this a little bit inside,
Whoa.
It'll take off.
Come on. Hurry. Hurry. Hurry.
That's where it's curling. Now they're working hard on it. He's got good looking weight.
He's got it.
Right on the nose. Good shot. Whoop. Pressure curling.
So facing 2 Canadian stones. Douglas Dryburgh with the final stone of the 6th end makes the takeout and stays. Scotland leads by 1.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brian Williams at Sports Weekend Control in Toronto. That lone game in the NHL is now a final. The Boston Bruins defeat the Los Angeles Kings 8-6. Bruins had trailed the Kings by a score of 5-3 in that game, so the Bruins win today. The Boston Red Sox also winning today. The Bo Sox defeated the Montreal Expos by a score of 6-5. The Blue Jays, playing .500 baseball in spring training, are playing the White Sox at Sarasota. I'll update that game during our next break. Right now, let's return live to Victoria. Once again, here's Don Whitman.
Thank you, Brian, and I'm sure the Vancouver Canucks will be pleased with the outcome in Boston this afternoon as the team they're chasing, the Los Angeles King, goes down to defeat. I don't know whether Jim Sullivan cares at all about the outcome of those hockey games, but he is watching with interest the outcome of this curling game. Jim Sullivan, the 1987 Canadian Junior Champion. Jim, we watched you win that title back early in February in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. You're here as the 5th man. What have you observed? What have you learned from the week of men's junior curling?
Oh, I've just learned a little bit of the strategy of the other teams, and I've watched pretty well every draw, and it's been exciting curling, and it's been good curling from all the European teams curl very well.
Has this been your first exposure to World Junior Men's competition?
No, well, like I said before, in Fredericton in 1982. They had the World Junior there, and I saw a few draws there, and I saw the final.
What will you be doing now as you prepare for next year's World Junior Championship in Fusen, West Germany?
Well, mainly we'll be practicing pretty well every day, and we'll be going to all the bronze spiels across the Maritimes, and I guess we go over to Scotland for a week or two early in fall next year.
So do you plan on playing a lot of games then next year?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, well, Jim Sullivan, we wish you all the best next year in Fusen, West Germany. That would be nice to add a world title to the Canadian Junior Championship you won earlier this year in Prince Albert.
Yeah.
Jim Sullivan, who will be skipping the Canadian entry next year at the World Junior Competition. Skipping the Canadian entrant this year at the World Junior Competition is Hugh McFadyen, and he watches that stone of Norman Gould's come to rest at the back of the 12. They were trying to get in behind that center guard. They didn't want to go as deep as the stone by Gould actually went.
Well, it really went deep. It just hung on the back, and you see just a biter in the back of the 12 foot, but it is behind cover, which you know, can always prove troublesome to the other team. You know, you don't know whether to play a hit or maybe just a quiet tap back, so it can prove troublesome.
David. Yeah. Whoa, whoa! On your way. On it.
Well, it's got a little bit of curling to do. Now it's starting to come over. Is he going to catch a corner of it? Yes, just a corner of it.
And the shooter also rose out of play. We talked about the World Junior next year being held in Fusen, West Germany. The team competing in this year's Uniroyal here in Victoria is from the Fusen, West Germany Curling Club. Not a big club. They only have 35 members. But it is a picturesque setting.
35 members. Somebody must play with 3 men. Oh, just a little bit short. Norman Gould took a little bit too much off it. Stopped just short, but still a little bit of protection out there. That could work in Canada's favor. The danger for Canada, of course, is that they have last rock, and they want to play to the corner of the sheet, because if it doesn't work out, they always got the whole full house to draw to. So really, those 2 rocks being in the center are really in Scotland's favor, because now if Scotland gets a one around that guard and in front of the tee line, they're in pretty good shape to steal a point.
In that 1980 semifinal, Scotland, a 3-2 winner over the United States. This battle between Canada and Scotland in this championship game is threatening that 1980 contest as the lowest scoring game ever in Uniroyal play.
Boy, they're working on this. This one's going to pull up a little bit short too, I'm afraid. They are really brushing it hard. All the pressure on the brushes right at the head of the brush, and look at them work on it.
Let's talk about those brushes a minute. The Scots use a different brush than Canada. The Canadian brushes, horsehair. The Scottish brushes, hog's hair from China.
From China, yes. We talked to Alex Torrance about that, and it is a much denser hair. And like, if you look at their brushes, it's very thick compared to Canada's. You know, there's a lot of loose fibers in there and everything else, but the Scottish brush is very thick. You know, they were taking team pictures last night, and you heard Alex Torrance yelling to Phillip Wilson, Phillip, get a proper brush. He says, Phillip, ain't you get a proper brush? Oh, he's a great one, Alex Torrance.
Jonathan Mead, the Canadian third, using a broom for balance as he delivers this stone, attempting to draw behind those center guards. He's got a good-looking shot if they can get him by.
He's well by the guard. They just want to bring it deeper, because the more they bring it, the better it'll vary.
It's not covered, but Canada, with that delivery by Jonathan Mead, does lie 1.
Sweeping, guys.
Well, if that rock was over maybe about 6 inches. Oh, what a great shot he has.
You talked about Alex Torrance. He is the oldest coach in this competition. He's 53 years of age. Of course, Alex has represented Scotland a number of times in world competition. And the youngest coach is the man who is looking after the Canadian team, Don Harvey. He's just 22.
Scotland throwing big weight at these rocks.
Phillip Wilson going after that Canadian shot stone.
He's got it. He's going to hang around. No. Oh, and Dryburgh looks down the ice, you know, and I don't think he anticipated that much weight on that rock.
So Canada will attempt to bury again. They'll try and travel the same path, but this time Jonathan Mead wants to be closer to that guard.
Well, that was why it's very important on that particular shot for Scotland to hit and stay. Because now it gives Mead another chance, and he may put it in a little bit better behind those guards than he can get at it.
Scotland leading by a score of 2-1. The first two ends were blank. Scotland got one in the third, Canada one in the fourth. The fifth end was blank, and Scotland went ahead with a single point on the sixth.
Now they want to make sure they should cover that one because it's not hasn't got much weight.
Come on!
Oh, he is tight to the guard. Is he by?
Come on!
Oh, hard. He just touched the guard. And I think Hugh McFadyen didn't get him on it early enough. Because, you know, it's one thing to play it very tight, but make sure you're by. They jumped on that maybe 5 or 6 feet further. He gets by, and he's right in the forefoot.
That seems to be a problem that Canada has been having in this game. They're just missing by an inch or two of making excellent shots.
Well, as I said earlier about the third end, they just don't seem to be getting the rocks in the right spot. There was a good case. Like, they should have brushed that all the way down the ice.
Same weight out there, or a little stickier?
Just a touch stickier.
Here McFadyen talking to Mead is a little bit stickier out there because they've gone outside the center path a bit. They're about to the edge of the 8-foot. It's a little bit stickier out there because not as many rocks have gone down that area. Now, for Scotland, Douglas Dryburgh playing the shot that he favors most, the takeout. An opportunity for to hit and roll to the right-hand side and be in behind cover. He's thrown a lot of weight. They haven't laid a brush to it. He hits it and rolls away. Now, Canada once again has a chance to get it into the 4-foot area.
Well, McFadyen, in conversation with Mead, referred to the
pretty much the same, eh?
weight that had to be thrown out with the out turn coming down the right-hand side of the sheet. Information that he obviously has filed away for his first draw, trying to get behind cover.
Well, he'll ask the front end down there, John Lange and Norm Gould. He'll say, has it changed any?
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's the same weight down there.
That's
right. Zero, eh?
The same weight down there. Now, Lange and Gould, you watch, they'll jump on this one right away because they don't want to be short. They want to make sure they're buried. And not only that, they should have maybe swept the last one right from the start. Of course, you're listening to your skip. He's calling for direction. You should judge the weight. Sweepers are in charge of the weight of the rock. Look at Gould. He's just keeping it clean. He's got lots of weight. Mead watching the line.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Well, on 2 previous occasions, McFadyen has had the opportunity to try and bury a stone. He was heavy both times. He's a little heavy again, but it hangs in the back of the 8.
Well, see, the unfortunate part for McFadyen there is they never had a chance to sweep it. I mean, he was heavy when he let it go. You know, to work a rock a bit, yeah, gotta give him a chance to sweep it. But I'll tell you what, it's a little bit behind cover, so it's not a wide open hit for Scotland.
At least it's in the rings, not like the second or the fifth end where he was trying to draw behind cover and slid right through. Too 2-1, Scotland leads, playing this 7th end of this Uniroyal World Junior Men's Championship.
I would say about 7/10 of the rock sticking out of there. On the left-hand side, he can miss that guard by a good 2 inches and still hit about 3/4 of that rock. So he's got lots of room. If he hits and rolls out here, Canada will simply blank the end.
Whoa! Hey. Whoa!
One's yelling go, one's yelling hurry. Now they're getting on it. Oh, nice quiet tap back weight. He's going to hit, and is he going to stay around? No. Rolls away. Boy, any heavier, he might have missed that one. If he'd thrown that rock a little bit harder, he might have missed it. But nice controlled weight.
Well, Canada got those center guards up there, but they were not able to take advantage. So with final stone on end number 7, Hugh McFadyen will fire it through to retain last rock advantage into end number 8.
A 2-ender would look pretty big in this game, wouldn't it?
It would indeed.
2-1. So it'll be 4 blank ends in this game out of 7.
There was a low-scoring game at the Silver Broom a few years ago in London, Ontario.
2-1. Bobby Nichols versus...
I wasn't there. I don't remember. It was Jörg Tanner of Switzerland.
That's right. 2-1.
There were a lot of people who probably wish they weren't there that day. It wasn't a very exciting game. You like to see Roxon play in a curling match. There have been opportunities here, but neither side has been able to make the most of them. The score holds at 2-1.
Coming to Sports Weekend in 2 weeks, live coverage of the Men's World Curling Championship from Vancouver. Alberta's Ed Lukowich won the 86th Global Crown 4-3 over Scotland. Newly crowned Brier champion Russ Howard and his Ontario foursome defend Canada's world title. Full weekend coverage of the World Curling Championship in 2 weeks on Sports Weekend.
The Women's World Curling Championship begins tomorrow in Chicago, and prior to leaving for the Windy City, Pat Sanders and her Canadian champions from the Racket Club of Victoria got in a little practice here at the Esquimalt Sports Center. Sanders, Georgina Hawks, Louise Herlenvo, and Deb Masulo will meet Elizabeth Hogström of Sweden in their first match tomorrow.
I've curled Elizabeth before, so I am aware of the style of play that she plays. I think the team that concerns me a little bit more is the team from West Germany. Andrea Schut, because she is the runner-up from last year, and from watching CBC last year, I understand that she was a really good shot maker.
Pat Sanders may be only 5 feet and 92 pounds, but on the curling ice, she's dynamite.
Be sure to watch us on CBC Sports Weekend, because we're going to be lean, mean fighting machines in Chicago.
Yes, and on Sports Weekend next Saturday, we'll have end-by-end coverage and reports of what is taking place in that Women's World Championship. We're live at the Esquimalt Sports Center. Canada against Scotland, 2-1, playing end number 8. Scotland in front. Canada with a stone on the corner of the 12-foot.
Well, Norm Gould just made an excellent hit and roll over to that corner. And it's in a different position than Scotland is used to seeing. Look at this. That's pretty good curling, Donald. That's the first rock that's ever been played over that far. He picked that rock right out of there and rolled into the bite the piece of the 8-foot. Now McFadyen's going to start to gamble. He knows it's going to be very difficult to score 2 points, but whoever scores 2 is going to have good control of this game. So he's going to attack here. He's going to ask Gould to play the out-turn freeze on that rock that's behind the tee line.
Gould has a decided edge over his Scottish counterpart, Lindsay Clark. But this is a very big shot for the Canadian second.
Well, it sets up the whole end. If he sits beside it, wide open, Scotland hits it, stays there, then they're lying 2, then they've got control of this end. The rock has to be in front of the Scottish rock. Now look at it, it's not pulling over. Beautiful weight. Just never curled enough. Maybe a little bit too much ice. And I just heard McFadyen say to Jonathan Mead, I got to cut down a bit.
Blue-handled stone belonging to Canada, the yellow-handled rock to Scotland.
When he says cut down a bit, he means that he's going to tighten up the ice, give him less ice, and he should be right in front of that rock the next time. Canada, 85 versus 75. Those are impressive stats.
Oh, he cleared them all out. Now there's nothing to freeze to.
So Phillip Wilson removes not only the Canadian stone, but one of his own, and the shooter also rolls out.
Now McFadyen, still in the back of his mind, wants to score 2 points, so he's going to ask Jonathan Mead to throw up a corner guard. He had pretty good success over on this side of the sheet the last end, so he's going to try it again. One thing about playing corner guards, when you're going to play a corner guard, make sure you put the rock in a position where it's going to do a little bit of curling. There's no sense in putting a corner guard up on the side where you can't draw around it. They've had pretty good success here the last end, the time they played down here. So
easy, well, it's like lots.
You hear Hugh McFadyen saying he's got lots.
Whoa. Nice shot.
That is a good shot. Stops in front of the rings, about 1.5 feet.
Jonathan Mead, the Canadian third, the All-Star third, student at the University of Manitoba, where he's studying commerce. A Winnipeg Jet fan as well, disappointed in the Jets' 6-5 overtime loss to the Vancouver Canucks last night. But for the Vancouver Canucks, that win, coupled with the Los Angeles loss today to Boston, keeps them very much alive in the race for the fourth and final playoff spot in the Smythe division.
Just getting back to that hockey, Don, the only encouraging thing for the Jets out of that game was the fact that they scored 5 goals. They've had trouble putting the puck in the net, haven't they?
Safe to say that you're a Jet fan as well, I guess.
Yes.
Phillip Wilson removes that corner guard that Jonathan Mead had placed out there, so Mead will attempt to do it again. His parents, Gerald and Penelope, and his brothers Chris, 16, and Andrew, 13, are also here.
See the way that young Mead steps behind, like he doesn't have what we could refer to as a trunk lift. He steps right behind him. He's always in line with the target.
Got a cut. Yep.
A nice touch.
Yep. Yeah, come on. Okay. Stone.
Well, the Canadian squad has that corner guard there again, and Dryburgh will attempt to run it off.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they're up 1 point. They don't want any rocks in front, but another place that he might want to put the rocks, maybe on the edge of the 4 foot. Say, okay, McFadyen, you got the corner guard up. I'll put it on the edge of the 4 foot. If you go around the guard and ignore my one in the 4 foot, I'll simply come down and drop to you, and I'll be lying too. Or maybe McFadyen would hit it, and that way take away the play from that corner guard. So drawing to the edge of the 4 foot is not a bad call here. Neither is this running off the corner guard. The only bad thing that can happen to him, of course, is if he hits it on the nose or stays anywhere and play with a shooter. Fairly even.
Whoa!
73% each, which isn't great curling. Here's, oh, is he just going to catch a piece of it? Oh, just.
And the shooter rolls out of play. Now, what does Hugh McFadyen do?
Oh, I think he has to put it in the rings. I mean, if he puts it on the corner and Scotland will simply draw around it, they're one up, they don't have last rock. That way they'll force Canada to take one. So you have to put this one in the circles.
It seems each time that McFadyen and these Canadian champions have had something going in this match, they haven't had last rock.
That's true, you know, and that's unfortunate, but you know, more
He's gonna play it out wide on the right.
For Scotland, they've created that situation. They haven't let them get anything started.
Right. Out on the right.
Force him to play that intern.
Play it in.
You know, they played almost 8 ends in under 2 hours, which is pretty fast curling. There hasn't been much in the way of strategy. It's an excellent shot making.
Well, from what we heard as the front end discussed this shot with Hugh McFadyen, perhaps they have detected some slight weakness in Douglas Dryburgh, as they said they want to try and force him to play the intern.
Yes, he may roll it a bit, or maybe always be a touch wide of the broom when he throws intern. You watch for those. That takes the form of strategy too. You watch for flaws in the other team's delivery. If he obviously rolls his in-turn, you try to put the rocks on the in-turn side. Make him make the tough shot with his bad turn.
So McFadyen places the stone at the back of the 12 to lie 1, and that's the one that Douglas Dryburgh will be going after. He's studying electronic engineering at Paisley College in Glasgow. He also plays some ice hockey.
That's for sure.
And he was telling me that his father, Jack Dryburgh, is a former Scottish junior tennis champion and was very much involved in the 1976 World Junior Men's Curling Championship. He helped organize the event when it was held in Aviemore, and it was won that year by Paul Gould.
One. All the way, all the way, all the way.
Well, if he has a problem with the in-turn, it wasn't apparent on that shot.
I don't know whether he has a problem with any turns, to be honest with you. He throws the rock pretty well. I mean, there's not much to choose between these two teams. They're very close.
He played across the face, just make sure of it.
Now, you heard McFadyen say he's playing across the face. What he means, Don, he's going to throw the in-turn, and he wants to hit the rock, as we're looking at it, on the right-hand side. That's across the face. If he was going to hit it on what we call the high side, he'd hit it on the left-hand side as we're looking at it. So
this is the view that Hugh McFadyen has of that stone sitting in the rings.
Well, the reason he wants to hit it across the face is because he's only got about a foot to roll and he's out of play. But if he hits it on the high side or the left-hand side of the rock, he's still got a long way to roll to blank the end.
And of course, it's very important for McFadyen to retain control of the hammer.
Whoa! The rock has got a long way to come. They haven't laid a brush on it. He could hit this one right on the nose.
He has. He attempted to apply a little body English to that stone to get it out of the rings, but he was unsuccessful. So with the nose hit, 2 ends remaining, it's tied at 2 in this World Junior Championship battle.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Sports Weekend Control in Toronto. In the NHL this afternoon, the Boston Bruins over the Los Angeles Kings, 8-6. Here is the scoring information on that game. Ray Bourque got the winning goal. It was a 60-foot slap shot with 29 seconds to play. Defenseman Mike Milbury had tied the game at 6 with a shorthanded goal. It has been another big day for those Los Angeles rookies. Jimmy Carson out of Grosse Pointe, Michigan had 2 goals. Luc Robitaille getting his 40th of the year. Right now, let's take you back live to Victoria. Once again, here's Don Whitman. Don?
Brian, you see the score, 2-2, single points for Scotland on the 3rd and 6th end, Canada scoring on the 4th and 8th ends, and Scotland endeavoring to keep things clean. A slight problem as the Scottish
lead through the wrong
colored stone as Billy Andrew fired a blue-handled rock down the ice, so they have to fire a yellow-handled stone down and return that blue-handled rock to the other end. I think at this point, perhaps getting just a little excited, just a little anxious.
That's true. You know, you're concentrating so hard on the shot that you have to play, or the fact that the score is tied and you're getting down to the last part of the game, 9th end. You really don't look at the colored rock that you have in your hand. I think one of the greatest remarks I ever heard about curling rocks, I was talking to Paul Savage. He was a left-hander, and we were just discussing curling. He says, well, my outturn works a little bit more, and I said, well, why is that? And he said, well, because I get a little bit less spin with my outturn than I do with my in-turn. I said, well, I can't believe that. He says, well, Donnie, the rock doesn't know you're left-handed. He is quite a character. Done very well in the playdowns this year in Ontario. Was right in the thick of things to the very last. One of my favorite people.
Of course, he was the 1983 Canadian and world curling champion with Ed Werenick.
Go around it. And peels the front and throw up the center.
So throw up one more anyways.
Well, you see them talking about throwing up one more center guard, and that's a good call. They were thinking of maybe going around the corner guard, but I would throw one up the center, hoping that they hit it on the nose then. because you're trying to steal a point here, or two, or force Scotland to take one, so you're going to throw up another guard. Hope they hit it on the nose, then you go around. At least you're playing in the center then. You go around that corner guard and you go a little bit too deep, then you've set it up for Scotland to score two, and that's what you don't want to happen.
McFadyen and Mead discussing strategy for this shot by Norm Gould.
Boys are going to have to work this one. Boy, they are brushing hard, and he's just nicely over the line.
That's good. Good sweeping, guys.
Trying to pull it in towards the center a little bit.
Well, this game very close. 2-2 the score, 2 ends remaining. Last year, Canada and Scotland had quite a battle in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, with Scotland winning 5-4. The Scottish champions skipped by David Aitken. They defeated Kevin Martin of the Avonayre Curling Club.
That's quite a shot. A right angle double kill, and he moves his corner guard a little bit more over to the corner of the 12-foot and near the dividers.
Would you have been tempted to perhaps try and get in behind that corner guard earlier?
No, I think the way Scotland is playing, Don, they feel quite content to blank this end and just give them last rock playing the 10th end. Sure. And they're not going to take any chances. They feel that they've got complete control of the game. They have last rock. They try to blank this end. And McFadyen, what he's trying to do, he's trying to force Scotland to take one. Or maybe steal one or two himself. But he wouldn't be too upset if Scotland scored one here. Be one down coming home with last rock. Mead. What
just over.
Hugh McFadyen's trying to do is get that rock a little closer, change positions of it. The one
stone.
The last guard out there was just a little to the right of the center line. Now this one is just about on it or just a little left of it. And he's changing positions on it, hoping that by changing positions, Scotland will have to give it a little bit different ice to hit it. Maybe not give them the right ice and hit it right on the nose and go around it.
That's the stone that Douglas Dryburgh of the Scottish skip wants removed by his third, Phillip Wilson.
Tell you what, Phillip Wilson won't be short on this one.
Whoa!
He's throwing pretty good weight. Oh, he's very close to missing this one. He has. Oh, just missed it. That, I think, more than anything, Don, was a result of throwing it far too hard. He upped his weight a little bit. The skip is proving him is the rock for just his normal takeout weight, but he hummed that one.
Let's go squirt. Let's wire this one.
So the door is now open.
Now the game is on. Now McFadyen's going to gamble, maybe steal a point or two.
No.
As I said earlier, he wouldn't be too unhappy if Scotland scored one here, because then he'd have last rock playing the 10th end, and he'd really gamble to score two in the 10th end. No, really, Dryburgh hasn't had any very difficult shots to make. He's never been under any kind of pressure at all to make a very Duncan, except that one draw. Boy, they got to hurry this one. He is close to that guard. Is he by? Oh, he's got a great looking shot. Look at this. Now they're just going to make sure it stops in front of the tee line. That is a gorgeous curling shot. Look at that. Piece of the 4-foot directly behind the guard. And Scotland now has no choice, Don, but to run them both. Try to run the guard back on the shot rock belonging to Canada. Beautiful shot.
Well, you heard Norman Gould say to Jonathan Mead as he settled down in the hack, he said, okay, Squirt, let's bury this one.
Oh, just a gorgeous shot. Look, great brushing by the front end. They just get it by. But more importantly, where he stops, you know, he's just fractionally behind the center line, but he's dead right in behind that guard. And now the worst thing that can happen to Scotland here is clear that front one off, hit it on the nose, but stay there, and even miss the back one. But he's got a good hit, peels it off.
Well, we're down to skip stones. Canada with the shot rock, sitting in the 4-foot. And Hugh McFadyen will be trying to cover it.
Well, he doesn't want to come into the house, Don. He'd like to be about a foot in front of the house.
Right about here? Yeah. As long as it's on the right line. Like,
You hear them discussing it down at the other end.
Yeah, okay. I can throw
It's nice and slick down there.
half would be fine, eh?
Yeah. Negative half will be fine.
Okay.
This one's just for line. Negative half, it'll be there.
Playing the in turn. They certainly don't want to bring it into the rings, Don. They want it about a foot, foot and a half in front of the rings to force Scotland to make a play on the front one. They do not want this rock in the rings. They haven't laid a brush to it. McFadyen's let it go. His line looks fine. It's got to pull onto that center line or slightly off it. He certainly doesn't want to pull too far. Now it's starting to curl. You hear him yelling, sit. That rock is going to curl too much. It is partially open on the in turn. Matter of fact, it's very close to being wide open. And from my vantage point down here, he can see about 7/10 of that rock.
He was yelling to the front end, Billy Andrew and Lindsay Clark, who were in the hack, as to how much they could see of that stone, and from the far end, that's what he can see.
He can see a good part of that rock. His guard is about 2 feet in front of the house, and that rock just curled too much. Maybe not enough ice for the quiet guard that he was playing. Now, Douglas Dryburgh, this is not the easiest shot. Depending on his weight, if he rolls out, of course, Canada will simply draw around that guard again. He wants to make sure he saves his shooter.
He's got a good shot.
Oh, good shot is right. He almost got an inside roll with that kind of weight. That's almost unbelievable. A good shot by Dryburgh. You'll see here, good brushing by the front end of the Scotland team. Well by the guard. Look at, just hits it on the nose, almost gets an inside roll.
That angle is a little misleading as to how much of that rock can be seen from the throwing end.
There you can see it. It's he did get a little bit of an inside roll.
Want to freeze it?
Hugh McFadyen can see 7/10 of it. He's just elected to play just a tap back.
He's still got that shot.
Corner freeze it?
I think we should move it out. Yeah, but move it out, we gotta hope for a miss on his last play. Do you want to try and just try and get a shot out of it? Just tap it. I don't know. You gotta make him take one. Yeah, let's play this. Let's freeze and just tap. Just tap here and stay here. If you get shot, fine, but don't play for it. Like, even if you just sit here. Yeah, okay.
At least a little off.
There.
Was that what you gave me for that draw?
Give you about there for the draw. There.
Now, you see what they're referring to. Mead says, even if you don't get shot, Hugh, it doesn't make any difference, because if he corner freezes on top of there, it's going to be very difficult for Scotland to get more than one, which isn't a bad situation. You force them to take one.
If we don't get shot, it's not that bad. If we're frozen right to it, if we can tap it a bit and get shot, it would be really nice. Yeah, it's about on the tee line, so if we freeze to it, he's going to be shot. Yeah. Just move it a tiny bit. We can't move it very much, so he's got a shot for two.
Okay.
That's the danger for McFadyen. He does not want to give up two. He doesn't mind giving up one because he'll gamble for all he's worth in the 10th end to score two, but Scotland scores two here. He's in a lot of trouble. So he wants to play the cold draw down to it, maybe move it a fraction.
Concentrating as he settles in the hack.
What he doesn't want to do, Don, is just tap it and kind of roll in the open. He either they have to make a decision when they're sweeping it. Mead has to decide the line, whether he's going to stop in front of it. He's got a lot of weight. They haven't laid a brush to it yet. He's a long way out there. Boy, it's got some digging in to do.
Is he even going to make contact with that stone?
No, he is going to go right by it. Is it going to end up shot rock, though? No.
Didn't move.
That stone didn't curl at all.
Well, the reason it didn't curl, because when he let it go, he was heavy. They never brushed it at all. They never give it a chance. You know, you have to throw that rock light and let the sweeper sweep it, and then lift your brush and hope that it curls. But when you throw a rock dead heavy, they can't do anything with it. Now, for Scotland, all they have to do is follow that one down, sit on top of the Canadian stone, and they're going to score 2.
2-8.
Hear him say T-way. Canada needs a bit of a break here.
Well, 2 points here will be very, very big if Scotland is successful.
Scotland, Skip Dryburgh has not played that many draws. He's got a lot of weight. Now they start bringing it. Got to make sure he doesn't chip his own out here. He's coming down. He's got a lot of weight. He may chip his own. It can. Oh, look at that. That rock curled a little bit. He had about the same weight as Canada.
So a chance for 2 on this 9th end for Douglas Dryburgh. It does not materialize, and he heads home, leading by a single point, but Canada will have last rock advantage.
Next Saturday on Sports Weekend, Ben Johnson leads a parade of champions into the Dome at Indianapolis for the first World Indoor Track and Field Championships. A unique snooker event as many of the world's best shotmakers pair off for the World Team Snooker Championship in England. Plus, end-by-end reports from the Windy City as Chicago hosts the Women's World Curling Championship. The BC rink represents Canada.
Playing the 10th end, Canada trailing by 1, but with last rock advantage. And to start this 10th end, Douglas Dryburgh called upon his lead, Billy Andrew, just to fire it through.
Well, there's 2 ways to approach this end. Either you decide to steal, or you play for Canada scoring a point. That way you'd have last rock in the extra end. Dryburgh's decided he threw it through. He's going to say, okay, I'm playing for the extra end. I'm going to hammer everything that Canada puts out in front or in the house, anywhere. They're going to have to take their one. I'll have last rock in the extra end. I'm going to win. McFadyen, on the other hand, wants a nose in. If he gets any kind of a rock out in front, he'll go around it. As a matter of fact, if Dryburgh stands still too long, he may freeze to his foot. And there's what they want. That's exactly what Canada wants. They've got the game set up now where they can score 2 points. And that is a costly miss.
Lost it.
And McFadyen is now done is he's going to draw to the other side, because what he wants, the reason he's going to the other side, he wants Scotland to make
that side, Norm.
Waste a lot of shots running off these corner guards. You know, rather than go in right away, Canada or Scotland peels off the guard, then Canada draws the other side. Then they have to be very precise. They cannot afford to roll out Canada. So this is why he's going to the other side. He's making Scotland waste some rocks running off either one of these corner guards. They'll hit one, you still have another one on the other side.
You heard him say, get them even. He wants those 2 rocks across from each other on either side of the center line.
Exactly. He does not want it anywhere where they can double them off. Now, sometime during the course of this end, Scotland's going to say, well, I can't get them both off. What he wants to do now is hit this one and roll to the center, because that's the area that he can steal a point now. And he knows McFadyen doesn't want to play in the center of the sheet.
He's got a corner, and the shooter will also roll out.
And so far, it's working for Canada. Now McFadyen will throw another corner guard up, say, okay, Scotland, run it off, waste another rock at it. McFadyen's got to be careful that he may throw up another corner guard, and Scotland say, well, look, I can't get these 2 off. He's going to get around one of them, and they're going to score 2 points. I may put one on the center line. Take the play away from Canada.
Lots of room.
You know, you talked earlier about this McFadyen rink participating in the Manitoba Bonspiel. Hugh was saying that the rink benefited from the experience of playing in men's competition. And he said Ed Lukowicz last year's world champion, gave him some good advice. He said, you learn from your mistakes.
Exactly. That's the only, you know, I can remember all the shots that I missed in crucial games. I can never remember some of the good shots I made. And I learned from all my mistakes. See, that rock is a little too tight for Canada.
Jonathan Mead has been out curling his Scottish counterpart, Phillip Wilson. Wilson now trying to remove that stone out front.
Whoa!
He could roll into the rings from over there. That rock's taking a long time to come over. Now I wouldn't be a bit surprised. There's only 3 rocks to come from Scotland. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see McFadyen go around that corner guard on the left-hand side.
He has decided it's
one more?
time.
Yeah, one more.
Oh, Mead's decided to put up another one. When I say Mead, of course, with the approval of his skip, Hugh McFadyen. I don't know about this. I mean, if he puts another corner guard up, what if Scotland puts one right on the button? Here you'll see Mead's delivery. Watch him step right back. See how low he is? His foot almost hits the bumper at the end.
Looks like lots.
You would be inclined to go behind that corner guard with this stone.
I think I might go around and go deep right to the back of the 12-foot. You know, so that if they follow you down, then you can just nestle on top of them and maybe score your 2 that way. Look at. See, I don't know about this. I don't know how to put that rock there.
That's a little keener there. A lot keener. A little bit keener.
The only bad thing about it, they're playing a lot of intern draws down there, and the rock that they're going to try and go around is on the outturn side. You know, that's why I might have gone around it, to make sure that you get it in first. Number 1, find out how the ice runs. You should know how the ice runs there, but just in case. See if he hits and rolls to the center, boy. It's. I think they may have thrown 1 too many rocks up.
Whoa! Hurry!
Here's a nose hit.
Whoa!
Or an inside hit. No, that's not bad. They set out to make him waste another rock, Scotland, and that's exactly what happened. Now, for Mead, he's going to have to play the out turn.
Well, that stone just delivered by Phillip Wilson, just a scant inch or so from being out of play, but it does not cover any portion of that 12-foot circle.
Yeah. Now you hear him saying it ran pretty straight down there. Now Mead will throw about the same weight as he threw on the one on the intern side. Now the sweeper should jump on this one right away.
Lots of room, guys.
Lots of room. The key is he has to be buried.
Come on!
Lots of room.
Let it bend. Yeah, come on!
Oh, he's got nice weight. Is it going to bury? Well, that's behind cover. Front of the tee line, pretty good shot. And there you see it. And this is from the far end. You'll see that rock is tucked in pretty well behind cover. And Scotland's going to attempt a takeout this one. Boy, he's taken about 6 inches of ice. He has to be very, very careful here because this shot could cost him the World Championship. If he makes it, there's a good chance that he's going to get out of this end. But if he wrecks on that guard,
sure.
Canada's got a great chance to score 2.
Well, the end is set up. It appeared as though something may have been set up on the previous end when Jonathan Mead put that stone behind cover right in the 4-foot. But Scotland's Dryburgh was still able to get 1 point. He was hoping for 2 as the complexion of that end changed rather quickly. And Now he has a big shot here. He has to get past that corner guard, trying to get to the shot zone. Will he get there?
He made one like this last night.
Oh,
what a great shot. Oh. And look at where he rolled to. Can you imagine that? Mead drew behind that rock. He missed the guard. He hit it almost on the nose and rolled in the corner of the forefoot. That's an unbelievable shot. He cleared that guard, I'm sure, by a cigarette paper.
Yeah.
Look at this.
What?
Good, but look how tight he is to that guard. See it starting to curl now? Look at it. You can not see almost daylight between that two. And look at it. Look at it. He hits that rock, rolls in the forefoot. Now, for Canada, the only chance they have, Don, is they have to freeze this rock up tight to the one that's in the back of the forefoot belonging to Scotland.
Well, there still is a chance for Canada to get 2 here on this 10th end.
See, that corner guard is still up, but it's no good to him anymore because the rock belonging to Scotland's in the forefoot.
So.
And my only concern for McFadyen is that his draw weight has not been that great today.
He has struggled almost from the opening end with his draw weight. Again, we reflect back on the 2nd end, where he had a chance to go behind cover, and the 5th end with a similar opportunity. Then he attempted a freeze on the 9th end.
Just a shade heavy, and the rock never curled for him, stayed out there. Anywhere in front, as long as he shot rock, anywhere in front. Even if he's not shot rock, Don's going to pose a problem for Scotland.
It's good.
Hear him yellow right as soon as he let it go. He said his weight's good. He's got lots of room. Now you see it starting to come over on that line. He's got about another 1.5 foot to curl. He's very close. You see him yelling, whoa, whoa. He's got lots of weight. Oh, beautiful weight on, but it never curled for him. It's strictly a wide open hit. Scotland could hit that one right on the nose, spill them both. That he had perfect weight, just too much ice.
Yeah, you can do it really well. You.
For Scotland, he has to hit it on the nose.
And I'm sure Hugh McFadyen is already thinking about the shot he'll be playing.
Geez, that thing just started coming across a bit earlier. Would have had it frozen right on the nose.
Hear him say, if it had broke a little bit earlier and it didn't curl him. That's perfect freeze weight. Look at that. And he's about 12 inches away, but making a perfect shot.
Is the freeze the toughest shot in curling?
Oh, it is. When it gets down to this situation, not only from the standpoint is a difficult shot, but the pressure situation. You know, you're trying to save a game or win a game.
Run!
He's got a wide open head. He looks pretty close. He's got it.
So, 1 stone remains. Will we go to an extra end? Dryburgh did what he set out to do, remove that Canadian rock. He also took his own out of the rings, but the shooter stayed right there. So for Hugh McFadyen, he must now hit and stay to force an extra end.
And I just heard Norman Gould say to him, nose hit, just straight hit. Don't worry about the score, the consequences, nothing. It's just a wide open hit.
Just regular.
Him say just regular hit. For Hugh McFadyen, maybe the biggest shot of his young curling career, has to hit and stay to force an extra end. You know, this is tough when you're trying to hit and stay just to tie the game. Never mind win it, tie it.
Will we have an extra end?
Whoa! He's pretty close.
Good looking line.
Well, it's got to come over.
But it's got to curl some. No, it's going to roll out, I think.
Oh, it's going to be very close. Is it going to hang on? No, it rolls out of the ring. Scotland has won. Oh, an unfortunate shot for McFadyen.
So Douglas Dryburgh, Phillip Wilson, Lindsay Clark, and Billy Andrew are the 1987 World Junior Men's Curling Champions. Disappointment for Hugh McFadyen. Jonathan Mead, Norman Gould, and John Lange, as McFadyen is consoled by his teammates. He failed to stick with his final stone takeout.
On the unfortunate part, it looked like when he let it go, he was fine. That rock did not curl for him at the end. He got a good piece of it, rolled well across the house, and unfortunately just didn't hang on. A very tough shot, and a tough loss for Hugh McFadyen. And I know the boys are very disappointed.
So for the Scottish champions, the 1987 world title is theirs for the second consecutive year. Donald Aitken, the winner last year when the event was held in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Douglas Dryburgh is now on headset down at the far end. Douglas, your thoughts as that final stone was making its way down the ice?
I actually thought he had made it. The ice tended to straighten up towards the end of the game, coming down with strikes down there. It's the way he put his handle on it. It was spinning, so it didn't grip the ice very well, and it just flew out the house.
I was just going to say to him, Douglas, that it looked like he put a little bit more turn on that rock, because halfway down the ice, it looked like he had it full on the nose, and it just seemed to straighten up for him.
That's right, it just straightened up. They were straightening up there, though, but that's just it. See, Brian, I told you.
That was a great shot you made with your first stone on this 10th end.
I could only see about 2 inches of it, so I think that was the one that put McFadyen down a wee bit. He still had his shot to tie, but great, tremendous. I'm really pleased. That's 4 times now Scotland's beat Canada in the final.
Yes, we brought up that point at the start of our telecast that you had beaten Canada in the final on 3 occasions. You have now made it 4. Congratulations, Douglas Dryburgh.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Cheers.
Douglas Dryburgh, Phillip Wilson, Lindsay Clark, and Billy Andrew, the 1987 World Junior Men's Champions, will be back after this.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brian Williams. Welcome back to Sports Weekend Control in Toronto. A close match. Scotland winning the Uniroyal World Junior Men's Curling Championship over the McFadyen rink from Winnipeg. Now stay with us. We'll be taking you back live to Victoria to rejoin Don Whitman and Don Duguid for all the official closing ceremonies in just a minute. While we have a chance, let's update some baseball for you this afternoon. In exhibition baseball in a game played at Sarasota, Florida. The Chicago White Sox split squad defeating the Blue Jays by a score of 9-8. That means the Blue Jays now dropping 1 game below 500. Dave Steeb started the game this afternoon for Toronto. Musselman, the loser. George Bell on a positive note for Toronto with a couple of home runs. So the Blue Jays losing today to the White Sox split squad. They're 1 game below 500. Montreal Expos are now even at 500, 7 wins, 7 losses, and 1 tie in a game played this afternoon at Winter Haven, Florida. The Boston Red Sox defeating the Montreal Expos by a score of 6-5. Floyd Yeomans was the loser. Don Baylor and Dave Henderson with solo home runs this afternoon for the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox winning in baseball. The Boston Bruins won in hockey this afternoon. The Bruins defeating the Los Angeles Kings by a score of 8-6. Ray Bourque got the winning goal for the Boston Bruins with 29 seconds to go. A bit of a fluke goal, a 60-foot slap shot. Boston, that was down 5-3, had tied the game on a goal by Mike Milbury at 6-6. The rookies, Carson had 2 goals for the Kings, and Mike Robitaille got his 40th of the year. All right, I understand Don Whitman's all set to go, so let's take you back live to the junior men's curling in Victoria. Don?
Well, the closing ceremonies, Brian, are just about set to get underway here at the Esquimalt Sports Centre. 3-2 the final score, Scotland over Canada. Don Duguid, you pointed out at the start of our telecast that the last 3 times that Canada and Scotland have met for the championship, the Scots have won. And that bit of information did not escape the notice of the championship skip this year, Douglas Dryburgh.
Well, you know, you have to feel sorry for Hugh McFadyen and his team. But the young Scot just made a great shot in his second last rock. Don, he did exactly the same thing against Switzerland last night. A similar shot, only more rocks on play. He could only see a corner of it. He had to clear that guard by exactly how much he had to clear it by, and he rolled to the forefoot. You know, you live and die by the sword. You have to gamble a little bit more, and I think Hugh McFadyen maybe should have started gambling a lot earlier, throwing up a whole bunch of corner guards and make the Scottish team make some fine shots. He didn't do that.
He decided, well, maybe he could get 2 in the last end to win. It didn't work out. It's unfortunate for McFadyen, but the Scottish team just played super.
Julie Sutton is the 1987 Canadian Junior Women's Curling Champion, and she was here taking in the action. We spoke earlier with Jim Sullivan of New Brunswick, the 1987 Canadian Junior Men's Champion, who will be representing Canada at the World Championship next year in Fusen, West Germany. And the Canadian forces are going to play a big role in the staging of that 1988 World Championship, as Charles Heckman of the organizing committee informed us just a short time ago. So it should be a very exciting time for the Sullivan foursome from New Brunswick at next year's Uniroyal World Junior Men's Championship.
Oh, well, I think they'll just do a tremendous job. They're enthusiastic, they're eager, and that's what it takes to put on a World Championship, and they'll do a great job.
Well, the volunteers and the organizing committee here in Victoria certainly did an outstanding job, and it's been a very exciting week. And we are now bringing it to a close as we are entertained by the Naden Band of Maritime Pacific under the direction of Lieutenant Rudy Gazarek. I'm sure that many of the people on this organizing committee for the Uniroyal World Junior Championship also participated in the organization of the 1984 Labatt Brier that was held here in Victoria. I see some familiar faces.
Yes, I certainly do too. And without a great organizing committee like they have here, you know, it's very difficult to put on an event like this, and you need those volunteer helpers, you know, to make sure everything runs smoothly. They just do a great job.
Well, with the weather they have on the West Coast, they make the rest of us envious. Sun shining, flowers blooming, and that's the man who has chaired this event, Ken Moore. And the honorary chairpersons, Lindsay and Bernie Sparks.
There's a very happy volunteer.
Well, the staging of the event, the playing of the games, is the easiest part. It's all the off-ice activities that have to be coordinated that takes
Ladies
the time.
and gentlemen, please stand for the curlers of the 10 competing nations in reverse order of finish.
A young rink from Italy, Marco Alberti, 17. Elio Moran, 17. Gianluca Lorenzi, 17. And the skip, Stefano Ferronato, 18 years of age.
And enthusiastic they are.
Representing France, Eric Theriault, David Bruguet, Franz Moreau, and Pascal Theriault. Denmark represented by Brian Engard, Karsten Nybo, Michael Peterson, and Jorgen Larsson. From the United States, Todd Forbord, Connor Oyhouse, Dwayne McGregor, Brett Davis, and Darren Press. Forbord, the spare on this United States rink. Sweden with Stefan Thiemann, the all-star lead, Glenn Haglund, Orion Jonsson, and Thomas Nordin.
Now, I talked to Hugh McFadyen at the beginning of this game, and he said that Sweden was a very underrated team. They played very well, and any kind of luck, they would have been in the playoffs.
The German team from Fusen, the site of the 1988 Uniroyal World Championship. Ulrich Schneider, Christopher Huber, Florian Zorgebel, and Andreas Kopp. Switzerland, losers on an extra end in semi-final play last night to Scotland. Reto Huber the lead, Frank Kobel at second, Mark Houtenchild the third, and Marcus Egler the skip. Norway with Dag Skelstad the lead, Jan Thoresen at second, Tor Torbrot the third, and Anton Grimsmo the skip. They fell behind early, 7-0 to Canada after just 3 ends in their semifinal. And while they made a determined effort to try to get back in the game, they just couldn't catch up and eventually lost 11-5. However, the Norwegians aren't going home empty-handed. This morning, they won the battle for the bronze medal against Switzerland.
Ladies and gentlemen, the runners-up and bronze medalist, Norway.
The best that Norway had ever done previously was 1983 when they took the silver medal. That was the year that John Bass won the gold. The championship was played in Medicine Hat, Alberta. First time that Norway had ever been in a final. And this year they reached the semifinal stage and wound up capturing the bronze medal with a victory over Switzerland.
Ladies and gentlemen, the silver medalist, the McFadyen team from Canada.
Canada now with 6 silver medals as a result of this second place finish for Hugh McFadyen, Jonathan Mead, Norm Gould, and John Lange. Canada with 5 gold medals, 1 bronze medal. The only time they have been shut out was 1984.
Well, a very disappointed Hugh McFadyen team. And this shot here and not being able to get the rock in the right spot, a couple of missed draws. It's unfortunate. But a very good effort by these 4 outstanding people.
Representing the Assiniboine Memorial Curling Club in Winnipeg, and they'll be returning home tomorrow afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, the gold medalist of the Uniroyal World Junior Curling Championship from Scotland, the Dryburgh rink.
Douglas Dryburgh giving Scotland its 4th gold medal in this championship. Scotland has only finished second once. They have won 6 bronze medals. So the two nations that had dominated the Uniroyal World Junior Men's Championship met in the final today, with Scotland closing in on Canada as far as those gold medals are concerned. Scotland beat Canada in the final last year. Scotland beat Canada in the final in 1980, and Scotland beat Canada in the final in 1981.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed the final game of the 1987 Uniroyal World Junior Curling Championship, won by the rink from Scotland. Mr. David Schaub, President of Uniroyal Goodrich Canada Inc., will present the awards to the winning rink. The winners will receive gold medallions, trays, and a banner to take back to their home club.
Presentations being made to the championship squad. And as we have mentioned, Billy Andrew, the lead, will be remaining here on the West Coast as the 5th player on the Scottish men's team that will be participating in the World Men's Championship, getting underway next weekend in Vancouver.
Mr. Schaub will now present the silver keeper trays to Team Scotland.
I know one man who's going to be extremely proud is Chuck Day in Scotland, who has probably been the most instrumental gentleman in Scottish curling. He's devoted a lot of time and energy to junior curling programs in Scotland.
Trophy is now being presented to the members of the Scottish team by Mr. David Schaub.
That very handsome Uniroyal World Junior Championship trophy being presented to skip Douglas Dryburgh.
And now the banner which will hang in the home club.
All the members of the rink getting an opportunity to put their hands on that trophy. And of course the championship banner also presented. And that will hang in the Kirkcaldy Curling Club.
Silver medals will now be presented to the McFadyen team from Canada.
John Lange, Norman Gould, Jonathan Mead, the All-Star third and winner of the Sportsmanship Award, and skip Hugh McFadyen receiving their second place silver medals. Receiving a warm round of applause from the crowd here at the Esquimalt Sports Center, and deservedly so.
Mr. Schaub is presenting medallions to the bronze winners, the Grimsmo team from Norway.
And for the Norwegians, the bronze medal, Dag Skalstad, Jan Thoresen, Per Tov Bråten, and Anton Grimsmo. So it's gold to Scotland. Douglas Dryburgh, the champion, with a 3-2 win over Hugh McFadyen of Canada. Norway finishing third in the Uniroyal World Junior Championships at the Esquimalt Sports Center. Now let's return to Sports Weekend Control and Brian Williams.
Sports Weekend has been a presentation of CBC Television Sports, and our executive producer here at Sports Weekend is Bob Moyer. World Junior Curling produced live in Victoria this afternoon by Lynn Kellner. Our director on site from Winnipeg has been Brad Haywood. Technical producer Jim O'Brien. Our production assistants today coming from Winnipeg. The rest of our crew, production and technical, that make it all possible. The Leafs in Montreal coming up in 2 hours.